Hello and welcome back to Dash28 Live. I'm your host, Mike Atkins, and man, that sun is super bright if I lean forward. I better not do that again. I'm going to blind myself here. Welcome to the second round coverage of the Sweaty Gigante Universal Battle Tournament. This is a charity event to raise money for the family of the late Jesse Cornwell, and we're delighted to have you here watching with us. We're also just ecstatic at the amount of donations that have been sent in so far, and the number of people that are playing. Round one was a really good time. There were a lot of great games. And we've selected a match for you from the second round that we think will be fun and entertaining for a few different reasons. Since we're also going to broadcast the top table third round match, we decided not to go with any of the top couple of three tables. We dropped down to about table 6, and we're going to be bringing you Elliot Morris versus John Green Jr. This should be interesting because this is a nice like international club rivalry kind of match. We've got a Northern King versus a dojo guy. And it's also kind of a classic fun good versus evil matchup. We've got Basileans versus Abyssal Dwarves. And Elliot has done some really fun thematic things with his army for this particular event. And I would like to remind everyone that we are still accepting donations during this matchup. I'm going to put that information up down at the bottom there. For the duration of this broadcast, Dash28 will be matching any donations that come in. So please do donate during this broadcast or our next broadcast, and we'll be happy to match those for you. I'll bring that information up again a little bit later and just leave it scrolling for you. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the folks I've got here with me. I'd like to welcome Ray Shields.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you, Mike, as is my goal of this cast.
Go ahead.
We have just received a $75 donation.
Yay!
Running tally has been updated. Send them with messages, and as long as it's PG-13, we will have various people announce it on air. So,
fantastic.
Yes, here we go.
Fantastic. And it begins. I'd like to welcome my club mate from Canada, Ray Shields. Hi, Ray.
Hi.
Good to see you again. Yep. And of course, my frequent flyer co-host here, Brenton Williams. And of course, Keith Conroy, who's one of the TOs for the event. Thank you for being here, Keith. And thank you so much for all the work you and Jesse Bilbia have done to put this event on.
It's been a wonderful day so far. We've been really pleased to see the people embracing the spirit of the event. We all had pizza for lunch, and many pictures were posted. And people are just having a great time so far. People watching, getting good comments, and it's just the kind of day that Jesse would have wanted. So keep it up, everybody. Remember, at the end of the day, our closing ceremonies, we will be revealing the final donation. So keep it going, and who knows? Well, it might be high.
Hopefully will be. All right, so let's pop over and take a look at the lists. We've had to restart the room. Okay. To pop out of the UV room. We'll check that out later. All right, who wants to read Elliot's list?
I'll take Elliot's list. So we have here the Disciples of the Crust. 2 troops of Gur Panthers in this Basilean army at 1,800 points. We have delivery in under 30 minutes, or your pizza is free. So those are the 2 troops. We have 3 hordes of Ogre Palace Guard, the Pie, the Slice, and the Bite. We have 2 regiments of Alohi, Quattro from Angel. Quattro from Angel.
It's supposed to be it's like a pun on Quattro Formaggio.
Yes.
For cheese pizza.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that one is like you'll pull a muscle with that stretch. But
I know.
Yeah,
I like it.
Aloe Hawaiian, which I also like, and counts as the type of pizza, despite what other people will say. We have a priest, which is Kyle, the chronicler of the legend. We have Gnaeus Solistus, otherwise known Gnaeus Salamatus, and Julius Dragon of Heaven, otherwise known as the Big Cheese. Rounding it off for a total of 10 units and a unit strength of 17.
Yep. All right. Now let's pop over and take a look at John's Abyssal Dwarves. Which one of you guys wants to read John's list?
I'll go through the evil ones. We have 3 troops of gargoyles. We're going to name them ham, salami, and pepperoni. And we have 1, 2, 3 hordes of Abyssal Grotesque, Chalice of Wrath, Staying Stone, and Dwarven Ale to help deal with some additional damage and avoid wavering. 2 rocket launchers, but I don't see any mortars on this list, which makes it a bit unique. 2 half-breed champions, Mace of Crushing, Blade of Slashing to make them a bit more reliable with their 6 attacks anyways and vicious. And then the Overmaster on Ancient Winged Half-breed. So they both have a fairly big dragon to play with in each list.
Yep. And I'll remind everybody that the scenario for the first round is Pillage, and that they are playing with 1,800 point units that both get a special bonus Mammoth character worth another 250 points. And that Mammoth character comes with a Strider aura to give everyone around them Strider. And it counts as a core part of your list, meaning it is affected by your Inspiring and any other auras you have, and you can cast friendly spells at it.
Interruption donation just in from across the pond, $100.73. So for somebody could be so kind to donate 27 cents to even it out for a nice nice round number. We are up to $175.73. Thank you, Nick.
Excellent. So that's just probably the conversion rate, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, but we have to, as is our due diligence, we have to troll and make fun of.
Absolutely.
It is our purpose for being here.
All right, so we have a clock number from these guys. I am now going to pop over and see if they've got their UB rooms sorted out so we can watch them deploy. Looking for it.
So I guess before we see anything, any predictions on who's going to win between the 2 sides of the pond? Are we going to go east or west on this one?
Oh, I like to save my predictions for when I know who's already winning. But in the spirit of the game, I'm going to go with Elliot's. I think that the speed is really going to help him. He has the heal and the Iron Resolve to withstand some of these charges from the Grotesques. And his units have better names on them, which served me, it did well for me in the first round. So I'm going to keep riding the Elliot wave for as long as it lasts.
Mike, any predictions?
I think I'm going to go the other way. I think I'm going to bet against the rules committee and go with the Abyssal Dwarves because same reason I picked John for the first round. He brought an Abyssal Dwarf list without mortars, so good for him. I want to see Abyssal Dwarf lists without mortars win so that Abyssal Dwarf players stop taking it. So I'm sticking with that. Go, John.
And Bridget, tiebreaker.
You're trying to manifest something into the world.
Game in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough one. I mean, Elliot has done the classic move of like, oh, let me make them wacky pizza themed and name them all kinds of cute stuff. But it's actually a pretty dead hard list hiding behind all of that cute sort of tribute stuff. Oh boy. I'm sort of thinking about like 3 Abyssal Grotesque hordes with Strider. and a Strider or a the Mammoth, like that is a bunch of Tiger tanks rolling through. But I don't know. I just think there's enough tools, I believe, in the Basilian side to maybe take care of that. So I'm going to go Elliot, but it's like a 51-49 choice in my mind looking at these lists. And I am going to insult both once I see the deployment. So.
All right, Ray, which way are you leaning?
I'm going Elliot.
You're going Elliot. All right.
Well, I don't think the dojo has put any donations up this round. So we have a donation from the other side of the pond in the UK. So clearly Elliot has financial support running on this. And he has better names, so I have to go with the English brethren on this, and vote for him for that reason.
Keep it in the Commonwealth.
If Jojo wants to put a donation up, then clearly my vote can be bought.
You heard it. You heard it here first, folks. The fix is in.
I'm a man of principles, and those principles are for sale.
Yes.
For sale for a good cause.
Yep.
So for a
Absolutely.
very, very good cause, of course.
Mine are for sale for bad causes. That's okay.
All right, so it sounds like they are getting going.
Yeah, unlike our normal broadcast, they haven't like finished deployment, and then we start covering this. So we got time to kill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to. Well, yeah, we have a few things to talk about. That's fine. So I'm going to add their clock, which they.
So we had some highlights from round one. A couple really interesting matchups. We saw orcs versus an all tyrants army. That was fantastic. We had a late arrival that brought 4 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry versus the Brocs. And
What?
yeah, that was the one that came in the morning. Was the late registrant. 5 troops of Revenant Cav and 4 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry. So
What?
still a close game, but oh man,
Did it win?
Oh, the undead one won. Yeah. It beat up on the Brocs. I
You're
think
kidding.
this round too we have a Brocs versus Brocs matchup.
What? I'm just going to roll in at the last minute to this tournament with also Reavers and Rev Cav. Okay, Mr.
Yep.
Popular.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think they were actually a late entrant. Knowing anything about this, I just think they wanted to hide that
Yes.
from the wrath. Like,
Yeah.
hmm
In pro wrestling, this is when like the bad guy runs in right before the match starts and hits the good guy with a chair, basically,
Yep.
like right as the bell.
A chair made of vampires.
A chair made of vampires. Whew.
Somewhere out there, Alex Cuse is writing this down for his next metal band.
There we go. So I would like to
Chair full of vampires.
remind everybody watching, or tell you if you haven't heard this before, this is in fact a charity event. We are raising money for the family of Jesse Cornwell. And as you can see down at the bottom, there are 2 places where you can send donations. Via PayPal, you can send them to Keith's elmira.edu address, or at Venmo, you can send them to Keith's username. And any donations that come in during our broadcast, Dash28 will be matching. So feel free to make us hurt by throwing some big donations in. I believe, Keith, last night during the pairings live cast, somebody actually donated $1,000.
1,001.
Yeah.
Just to make me read a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes, and that still was close to it. It was the highest single donation so far, but not by much. So I'm going to go through all of that when we're there at the end. But it is a tight race. So the top 3 donators, donating groups, lobbying efforts, because there's no SEC involved in this, are very close on the who will host the Unplugged, who will host Countercharge bidding war. So it's tight right now with answers that may surprise you.
Yeah, and I know the goal here is to make Rob Fanuff of Countercharge fame discuss anime and other things that just make his skin crawl. So I'd sort of challenge the group. What would make what is it that makes the Unplugged gamers skin crawl? Like, what do they not want to talk about the whole time?
See, that's so tough, because if you listen to their show, like Jake likes almost everything, and like Mike dislikes almost everything.
Sure.
I feel like, and Greg and John are kind of a toss up. So like, I don't know that you could pick one topic that they would all uniformly dislike. I feel like it would be more like you would make 2 of them really happy, and the other 2 would want to hang up on the call.
What
They're
about
too balanced.
What about like a deep dive into the reality show Below Deck, or something of that nature? Like, I'm pretty sure we can find something they will all hate.
Mike Rossi just posted in the chat, I am here for this question. So
I'm sorry, Mike. It's not that you don't like anything. It's that you like me are from a different generation than the rest of your hosts, and therefore like don't relate to the same things that they do in the same way.
That was going to be my original answer. Was we're going to make Jake discuss heavily researched historical gaming, But then I figured Rossi's ears would perk right up. And
Oh,
he'd be
that's
into
right.
Britain, you have to get Jake to discuss historical painting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is a common after dark discussion with him, which you don't want to begin. Now, what can you bring up to get Mike Rossi going?
Right. YouTube chat, help us out with this as we go through. If you can think of a topic that all 4 unplugged radio hosts dislike, we need that information. Don't hold out on us. Tell the world, because whomever wins that and gets to host, it's going to be a challenge, because you're right. Historical miniature wargaming of like, oh, this one regiment is slightly off kilter on the hill of Gettysburg or whatever. One of the hosts would like that.
Yeah.
So gotta find. Oh man, that's a tough question.
And again, donations go to the PayPal shown below, or the Venmo shown below of Keith-Conroy-2. Don't donate to Keith Conroy 1. That guy is a jerk.
It's a jerk.
And will do nothing for us. So, got to make it that Keith Conroy 2 address for Venmo. Because this is for charity. That's the way I'm doing 2 casts today. I was originally just going to do 1. And I got the special permission from the wife. When I laid on the guilt pretty thick, I was like, "Oh, it's a charity tournament. They really need people. It's for a friend that she was like, okay, now I'm no longer allowed to say no to this."
Yeah.
So
You see, I tried that. I was like, dear, I can't give up the whole day because giving the 1-year-old to you for the whole day might be too much. But you know what? You can let me go for like 1 game where I can come on and talk. So that's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
it's good. Okay, so we have some deployment happening.
We do. Croger, I'm going to take that as a suggestion that we want Unplugged Radio to talk about phrenology. And that'll just make all of them creeped out.
Yeah, Rossi blushed, and we can interpret that different ways. Let's hope it's the embarrassed one.
Yeah, but we do have some deployment happening here. So John has started deploying across the top, and Elliot's deploying across the bottom. They've elected to use red dots, it looks like, for the pillage objective markers.
Oh, there's the answer. We could talk about Kings of War on the Unplugged Radio podcast. They would hate that. Oh man, a whole episode just dedicated to Kings of War. No books. No literacy.
No literacy.
Hey, Greg, that info is scrolling across the bottom of the screen now.
We got Elliot Morish's Basileans. It is the pizza delivery. They look like ogres, but they're Basileans. Versus John Green of Dojo Fames, Abyssal Dwarves, all up at the top. Or sorry, Abyssal Grotesques, all up at the top. No actual dwarves.
So we have there's some dwarves manning the rocket launchers, doing the important, doing all the math.
I'm sorry, or maths for our friends across the pond. I have to pluralize it. Do they pluralize math in Canada, Ray, or is that just a British thing?
Math?
Maths? Do you refer to it as maths in Canada?
No, never. Math is always, it's just MATH.
See? Cookie.
Now, we do use U's, so we spell color in the proper fashion, COLOUR, because
you like extra letters.
Well, because we want to be clear and concise in our English. But no, math is the same whether or not it's singular or plural. I've never heard of maths before. This is something new to me.
No, it's the British version, and as long as we're dealing with these things, I pronounce it sweaty gigante. That's the authentic, but that means I also pronounce it Hyance and and Hargans.
I do have a valid question for Kyle. Whenever he shows up on this show, whether it's this game, next game, at any point, will Mantic or will somebody be putting out a Pizza Jesus T-shirt at some point in time for those of us to purchase?
Oh, interrupting time. We have another $20 donation is in. So we're up to $195.73. We also got another suggestion from Steve saying that the Unplugged guys could talk about true crime documentaries. So maybe that would be something that would bore their skulls. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think I feel like that's something Rossi would be into at least, and maybe John. For some reason, I feel like John would be into that.
True crime.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I feel like John may have committed some true crime.
Oh,
Like he might be hiding out from from someone who wants, some warrant in Arizona that he's run away from his whole life. I don't know.
let's run with this rumor, especially because he doesn't watch these. So just randomly, people at GTs a year from now will just come up to him and be like, "You got people tailing you right now? Everything okay?" It's like, what are you talking about? It's on the run from the law, John.
Is it okay if I post this picture I took of you, or do I need to blur the face or something? Or...
We have another donation in $3.14. So now I've. Oh goodness. Greg.
Can we for that episode replace the just with all of their significant others?
Yes.
But fulfilling
Oh my
the same,
God. Whoever
fulfilling
wins
the same personality role. So like
and Mike can have his daughter on as him. That would be this almost takes away from the people sending me random dollar amount donations so that I have to add on my calculator phone.
That's so good.
earlier on in the chat, Tom Annis said he will donate $100. So I expect you to hold him to that, because it's a dick move to put that in the chat and try and get the credit without following through.
Ooh, promissory notes.
Yeah.
All right, we are up to $198.87.
Fantastic.
We haven't even talked about the game. Imagine what will happen when we do that.
Yeah, so they are nearing the end
dry
of
up.
deployment. Yeah. Looks like we're nearing the end of deployment. It looks like John has gone pretty central with his grotesques and has hidden his gargoyles behind them, as you do, and he's interspersed his half-breeds in between them, as you do, along with the Pizza Jesus, Pope Mobile, Mammoth right there to get that sweet, sweet Strider aura on all those dudes.
I really like what Elliot's done on the right flank and having a little contingent of a Alohi.
And
Both
Nias.
two of them grinding with a regiment or a horde of the. And Julius is back there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that turn 3 or 4 is going to be a little tough for John if he doesn't anchor his flank with that half the winged overmaster.
Yeah, and it's that we say like, oh, that little right flank. That little right flank's got a lot of points over there at the moment. And
Yes,
could
it
get
does.
More. So it's going to be interesting because John has, the pain train slightly overlapping the house. Like if you push them straight forward, he's got to do some maneuvering with those grotesques to get them around the object.
Mm-hmm.
And
silly question though, how much does Elliot actually have to go out there? Like, I haven't really been paying attention too much to the game or the scenario, but it's pillage. I just looked it up, and that there's 10 objectives on the board. There's almost 3 in Elliot's deployment zone area.
Yep.
He only needs 1 more and he wins.
Yes.
And
Which is
goes after that one on the far right. Like, that's all he has to do.
It looks like this is probably going to be the roll for first turn. It looks like Elliot won that.
If he can hold those 3 from,
rockets and grotesques.
Well, just the absolute,
Greg would like to add that the episode would be called "The Airing of the Grievances" if their spouses and family served in their places. Just
it would be so good if that was like the most listened to.
of all
Like
time.
huge feedback, great response, spin-off podcast,
Right.
Family disunity. I'm a
Right.
terrible person, but I'm rooting for like all of them to have a more successful podcast that like shoots to the top of the charts off the back of their own that's been running for years.
Right.
It's so cruel.
They bring their spouses and family on to air grievances, and make fun of them, and then yep, that's the number one by like double their view count. Well played.
All right, so
Okay.
Elliot's taking his first turn, and he's just yeeted Julius all the way up here as far as he can. Just barely out of the winged ancient's charge range.
I will say, looking at this, the winged ancient can charge nope, not the front of Naeus. Okay, he's still in the front.
He's still in the front, and there's not enough space with the Loki there blocking him out. Yep.
I'd say I'm not a huge fan of the placement of the Overmaster. I feel putting him here didn't really accomplish much. You know,
Nope.
Well, it was a late drop, and Elliot had already made it clear that he was putting all his flying stuff over there, so he kind of had to put it over here to counter them.
He had to put it on that flank.
Yeah, I might have
Putting
wanted
him
to
in
get all-
that exact spot, I'm not as sure about.
Sure. Well, and he does have 2 half-breed champions. I think he can easily just move one of them over to threaten as well, because those guys are just super flexible and useful.
They're wonderful, man. What a great toolkit to have in your army. Those things, they can ground flyers, they can kill characters, they can get into war machines. They don't die easily at all. They can take down thick chaff sometimes. Just having regen is great. And hey,
What's up, guys? How you doing?
We'd like to welcome Kyle Preslinski from Mastercrafted and Mantic Games. Welcome.
hey,
We're doing this.
We're
we
doing
are
this.
doing this. We are doing
You
this.
you just won for the side of the beard. Ray
Yes.
and I were holding it down briefly at 50-50, and Kyle just comes in and dunks on the
My
rest of
bad.
the cast.
It's
with the beard.
the whole COVID thing. It's been going for a while now.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
That's why I have a mullet.
Oh, that's a good play. Those are back in style. I understand. So
Yeah. No one ever sees the back
In
of your head
style.
during the Zoom chat, you know? It's just
Yeah, it's the big headphones are partially hiding it, but I look like a 1990s hockey coach. It's horrible.
that's perfect, man.
Mighty Ducks 4 is coming out. Brenton Williams is going to.
If it doesn't show up on the webcam, it doesn't count. It's like the sweatpants of the back of the head,
Yep.
the mullet.
Catch me up on what's happening.
All right, so we've got, as you see the info scroll across the bottom there, we've got Elliot Morris playing against John Green Jr.
Oh,
That's gonna
I
be
have
Basileans.
to interrupt for a moment. We have had this just in 2 donations. We have a $75 donation from Steve Forrester going towards Jake's Pikachu lobbying efforts. And then we have another donation coming in to the tune of $265 from across the pond. So after I do some quick maths concerning decimals and dollars and cents, we will update the total.
Yeah.
Carry on, gentlemen. Thank you, Jonathan Fox.
Yeah, if it's UK money, we have to acknowledge that it is maths. Sorry.
Yes, and make fun of them.
Yep, and I will remind everybody that Dash28 is happily matching any donations that come in during this broadcast. So thank you so much for chipping in with that. So we've got Elliot Morris playing Basileans across the bottom versus John Green Jr.'s Abyssal Dwarves across the top. It's the top of the first turn, and Elliot is positioning his stuff, and they are playing Pillage.
I think John Green Jr. actually has this army, doesn't he? I know he's been working on it at least.
I think so.
I always respect that when somebody's got their actual army on UB.
Yeah, we've had him on at least once before, and I think he played a pretty similar grotesque heavy list. And I asked him about it, and he was like, "No, this is normally what I play in person."
Yeah.
So yeah, Elliot's army, of course, is wonderfully themed for this event. He of course has his 3 Ogre Palace Guard hordes named the Pie, the Slice, and the Bite.
Yeah. Let's be honest. If he hasn't modeled that in real life yet, he's just a poser. Like just making it on UB, like that's nice, that's good, but come on, show up to a real tournament with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, folks listening, we are up to $538.93, which is okay for the bottom of one, I suppose.
I love it.
It's all right.
I love
It's
it.
all right.
All right, so it looks like we're moving on to the bottom of turn 1. So
Yeah,
we'll
so
see what
Elliot
John does.
has committed 1 Ogre Palace Guard sort of towards the left of the blocking terrain, 2 to the right, kept his other stuff well sort of hidden / in reserve, and really pushed it forward on his right flank, which you have to do when you have that sort of commitment of points to the right, when John sort of grouped everything so tightly together.
Yep. And it looks like John is sending one of the half-breed champions over that direction to help stare down all his flying stuff.
The Leatherman, the multi-tool, does everything.
Mr. Fix-It. Bring at least one, preferably two. So good.
Now, a quick question. Does John have a lot of inspiring with his main line? He has the 2 half-breed champions and the Overmaster, but they're all flying creatures that don't really stick.
That's his 3 sources. Yeah, the Overmaster and the 2 half-breed champs.
It's the classic evil army inspiring problem. Of just like, hey, we have these really great inspiring. Oh, they're gone. They're on the other side of the board killing things now. Shit.
All right, we have received a $15.10 donation from Craig Eden. So thank you very much for the donation. And remember, if you want any messages attached to it, things that we have to read, insults or compliments, let us know. And that will update our total in just a moment.
Awesome.
How long can the message be? Because I'd sort of like you to record like a bedtime story this way and sort of soothe my toddler to sleep.
We've someday I'll get Michael Carter to record himself reading Goodnight Moon, and then I can just put that on replay and walk out of the room, and his sonorous dulcets can just woo my baby daughter to sleep.
I think I read that one just earlier. Like, good night, green room. Good night, red balloon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. But I'm very thankful that you didn't read Craig Eden's message, because I'm sure it was not PG.
Probably not.
Mine.
But let's talk about how excited John and Elliot are going to be when they go to rewatch this broadcast, and they spent most of it talking about Unplugged Radio and Goodnight Moon.
I think they know what they're getting into.
Just once we get into the thick of it, we'll have cool stuff to say about their game. But you gotta keep the audience
right. Children's books. Give the people what they want.
There is that tactical conundrum for John at the top of the screen, which is what to do with his rightmost, our leftmost grotesque unit. Like, Elliot has started to commit stuff to the left, so he around the left side of that blocking terrain. So he needs to sort of stick or twist and decide whether he's going to use the blocking terrain to isolate that Ogre Palace Guard unit, or whether he's going to face it with something. So he started to fudge around with that unit, and then went to move the rest of his army, which is the classic, like, I haven't decided what I want to do with them yet. I'm going to go back.
So I'm going to put this back up on the screen and say that sounds like a perfectly reasonable and not at all creepy request, so long as it comes with a donation.
We have a donation that just came in from Tom. Tom Ennis from Go Dojo is the message, and $100 following that. So we're up to $654.03. And Matt Croger wants to request that Kyle Brzezinski, in a soft, sultry tone, just whispers his name.
Hey, Matt. How you doing, baby? Kroger and me going to bed. We gonna make it super magical and sexy. Eat some pizza. Watch some dirty videos. It's exactly what Jesse would want.
Oh my. Ooh, got a little hot in here.
Yeah.
Now I have to learn how to bookmark these YouTube videos, so I can drop the pin there for people that want to just skip forward to that and not watch the rest of the game.
Yeah, put it on repeat.
Yeah, entirely unrelated. I am sitting next to a window, and it is very warm, so I got to get this sweater off. It is actually
has nothing to do with what Kyle said. Yep,
getting the vapors.
So Kyle, what's going on with Mantic these days? What's coming up that you're excited about that you guys are releasing?
There is a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes, and I'd say the vast majority of the excitement at the company right now is probably focused around Armada, just because we've had such a positive release with it. If you guys have not had the chance to play the game, I've played 2 games now, and it is a total blast. When we first pitched it, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I sat down with Ronnie, the whole sales team, the studio, and I was like, no. I was like, I don't think this is something that we're going to do. I don't think the Kings of War players are really going to connect with it. You think about things like, Dreadfleet, and Ronnie was there at the time at GW for that, and it didn't seem like something that it was going to take off or be that big of a deal. But so far, it's been a outrageous success. So there's a supplement book that's coming later in the year that's already going to add a number of different elements to it. If you're not familiar, it's based off of the Black Seas rule set from Warlord. We did tweak it slightly to add some more fantasy elements, but the supplement really kicks up the fantasy elements, and it actually just went to the playtesters yesterday. So they're going to have the opportunity to sort of try out some more fantastical elements for the game. But the way that it plays is really similar to Kings of War, because it's all centered around movement. You're essentially looking at different move steps to try to set up what would be the equivalent of flanks and rears. If you can get within a certain distance of a ship and fire off a broadside, if you cross the T, so to speak, if you can actually go straight down the hull, you double your damage. If you do it from the rear, you triple your damage. It's very similar to how Kings of War work, and that positioning game, it translates so well, and you don't need that many ships to play. So we're releasing a number of factions between now and summer. Kings of War has several big releases coming, things that we've teased a little bit. I think you guys have probably seen some of the Salamander stuff that's coming. The Rat Cannon obviously are getting a huge release in just a couple of weeks. There's a ton of sci-fi stuff that's planned towards the end of the year. I don't know if you saw in Dead Zone Fanatics, but we're asking for playtesters, and I'll leave the rest to your imagination. There's a ton of good stuff for this year, and believe it or not, somehow COVID and Brexit and everything in between has still been pretty good for us. Lots of good support, lots of hobby stuff going on for people in the community. It shocks me sometimes how well things have been and how good they're going and how much we can focus on releasing new models. There's League of Infamy that's coming, and there's going to be exclusive releases that are separate from the game. So if you saw models from there that you want to pick up and play, the Drakon Riders for the Elves are coming finally. Just the things that have been in the works for a really long time are finally coming into play for this year. So lots of good things. And the big thing for me is that I think that the upcoming Clash of Kings book at the end of the year is going to be a really big one. Halpi's Rift probably was more of a dud because we wanted to do a big summer campaign, and obviously you can't do that. And Elliot and Matt did a great job setting up the campaign that was on UB, but it's not the same when you can't get the whole community around the world to play games and report it and do it the way that we intended. It just didn't work out the way that we wanted to. So that book was intentionally scaled back, but we know at this point in time that we want to really sort of freshen things up and hit the ground running, so to speak, when we can get back and play some games. So I think everyone in Kings of War should be excited and looking forward to what's coming in that book at the end of the year.
Awesome.
I could talk all day. There's so many things that's going on, but
Yeah,
Are
let's
there
take
any
it.
more books to follow up the Armada? Because I saw that there was the one book that I read, which was pretty good, talking about the Basilian fleet going after the orcs. Is there any more plans along that route?
yeah, actually, the novel work that's going on is great. They're working on another one that I know of for sure. I believe that there could have been up to 2 in the works at any given time for that space with the naval stuff. And Kings of War has a number of things that are going on too. Ben Stoddard, if you guys read his book, that was an excellent book. Great take on things. I know he's working towards a second one as well. And I think that he's even, he told me in private that he was going to work a way to get, Sweaty Gigante as a character in the book kind of thing. And he wrote that little short blurb. And so yeah, tons of lore. It's being built out. I think that there's just nothing but good for the game, and now's a pretty important time. You know, we all know the GW is working towards what they're going to do with fantasy battles and the old world, as they're calling it. So we want Kings of War to be a big game and maintain kind of the top spot of mass battle fantasy.
We've received another $10 donation. Nick Williams wants to let Dojo know that their donations are weak and that they are currently winning in this donation war. So the gauntlet has been thrown, and it is hit smack dab in the face of Dojo. See how they respond.
I think we might have to have another club challenge, international club challenge series after this rivalry heats up.
Except Nick Williams won't play in that. Nick Williams won't play in that.
Well, maybe we can convince him.
They'll send some copycat fake Nick Williams in.
Dime Store Dan King.
Dime Store Dan King.
All right, so we're in turn 2. Elliot's top of turn 2. He has started sliding some of his flying and fast stuff around behind John.
Spicy moves.
You do.
He's moved his Gur Panthers up to kind of chaff up 2 of these grotesque hordes, and kind of left one of his Ogre Palace Guard regiments open to the Mammoth. Last turn, John shot with both his rockets. I think did only 1 wound to the ogres, so of course the iron resolved it away. So this is about to get really, really violent. Really
so there was this talk about how like Elliot doesn't really need to go anywhere. He's got 3 tokens basically in his deployment zone, and then he said, "Screw that! I'm going to do operation in your grill." And
how does that work in England? Do you have to see? Do you have to say like hold my pint, my lord? You can't just say hold my beer or something like that.
hold my tea.
Or in this case, hold my slice.
Oh,
my slice.
Well done.
And has really, really just like hit the go button, hit the accelerator, and pushed forward while John is potentially in a spot where he's kind of separated his forces, and there's this potential to sort of isolate some of his bigger pieces to the side where they're getting surrounded and potentially destroy them in detail, and really gum up like a couple of those grotesques, because between the sort of Ogre Palace Guard hammers versus the grotesque hammers, it's who's getting those critical charges in and who can pop one of those units in one go and never get a chance to fight back. When you have sort of 3 hammers on 3 hammers, if you can drop their effectiveness by a third or a half, it's huge. So he's pushing hard to make that happen.
I think a key is that dragon in the back corner, though. I don't know how it's going to be dealt with at the end of the day.
Is it in range of the individual that can charge all directions?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Elliot did a nice job of leaving that half-breed champion in the flank, so that even if he does ground him, he can still just go forward 20 and pick up a flank on grotesques or gargoyles in the flank, or he has his choice of targets over there in the middle, and he's kind of gummed up from moving up and moving down.
Yeah, and that's something that I've seen catch out new players a lot, which is that sort of, you have this idea from maybe other games that if you're fighting something, you have to keep fighting it. This sort of simple idea of like, I charged you and I grounded you, now you have to fight me. And when that dragon's got a clear open front arc and still 20 inches of movement, it can just piss off and do something better. So keeping that in mind, sometimes exposing your flank, especially to an individual where it does nothing worse to you, is a great way to keep your options open for a backfield dragon.
And if that wasn't complicated enough, we have the Ogre Palace Guard unit on the left, which is pushing around the building and definitely going to cause issues no matter what happens in turn 3. Is that the? It's not the pie. It's not the slice. It's the third one.
Yeah, it's the bite.
It's the bite.
You got to look out for the bite.
It's worse than the bark, so I've heard.
Heyo.
Hey.
Yeah, I think John was hoping to tenderize that one a bit with the rockets last turn, and unfortunately only did 1 wound, which it picked up. and so he turned the grotesques away. So now he basically needs to chaff it with some gargoyles, or just get everything out of its line of sight. But it looks like he's gonna try to turn some gargoyles to confront it, or some grotesques to confront it.
The thing you run into there is it's not a great spot because you now have one grotesque unit holding the line in the middle up against 2 palace guards.
But it's worse than that. That grotesque unit, if he leaves it like that, has the mammoth in the flank, which he's not going to leave, the gargoyles, and the dragons. So unless he deals with all 3, something bad is going to happen.
Yep. So he's sending the gargoyles in to chaff up the bite over there on the far left, as I kind of figured he would. And there he is, tucking in the grotesques. So he's not leaving any openings for any of the other units to sneak in. And that should put him out of range of the dragon. 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. Yep. So yeah, that's that one flank dealt with. And now, back up. Probably throw the other gargoyles in front to block. Yep. Good solid moves here.
All right. Thank you to the Spanish player who donated and did the conversion. So it is a nice whole number of $20 American. That is what we call sportsmanship.
Well,
and it will count for absolutely nothing.
There's a button you can hit. I think you can say give it to them in dollars.
Oh,
and then
it's a lot of effort, though.
Yeah.
Who's got time for that?
You can hit a button that says give it to them in the currency that they're accepting, and that's how you can give.
$684.03. Bottom of 2. All right, keep them coming, folks.
I'm curious as to what John does with that main line, that grotesque unit, the mammoth, to deal with the dragon.
I'm interested in seeing, because right now it's a hindered back charge, which is still not friendly. Oh man, I wish there could have been a way. How big is that Strider aura? 6 inches?
6, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish there was a way he could get the mammoth in and give the dragon Strider coming from the back. But
I feel like I might have just left the gargoyles on that bite unit an inch away in front, let the cannon shoot, and then hop over them and charge with the grotesque in the following turn.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, because if the rockets come up big, because otherwise, what else are your rockets going to do this turn?
Right.
Mm.
But I mean, they're an inch away. He murders them, right? Like during his turn.
Sure. I mean, yeah, those gargoyles are going to die one.
They're going to die one way or another. Yeah.
They're not jumping over anything.
Well, in the event that the rockets get like a lucky wave or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. John's running into the two rockets are not 3 mortars. It's a much smaller investment. It can serve some of the same purposes to put the fear into people, but it looked like Elliot sort of did what you have to do, which is just either you are choosing to deal with them or you're playing as if they're not there and just steaming ahead with your plan anyways. And it looks like he's steamed ahead with his plan anyways.
Or tuck everything on that side behind a building and don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did a decent job of protecting some assets, but he took shots on units in the first round. He wasn't playing scared of them.
True.
Although he did put his Alohi, etc., as far away as possible from them, because those have a danger of a lucky waiver just ruining their day, or a lucky break.
So it looks like John is trying to maybe sidestep some of his units out of the line of sight of Julius. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
Those, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. The Alohi on the right, top right, on the hill, Quattro Formagile, has the line of sight. No, I think he blocked line of sight for the flank. But the Naeus and those same Alohi have a good selection of targets that they can get into.
He was mainly just making a path for his
It's half-breed champ.
Yep.
Who has gone into the flank of Julius as we expected. Looks like the other half-breed champ went into the Gur Panthers with the Gargoyles, so
Got to make them dead.
that will definitely make sure that they die. So I guess John definitely isn't hoping for that to be one of those like chaff on chaff, somebody gets wavered, slap fights that just holds everything up for a turn. Like he wants to clear it out and be ready to go next turn.
Love a pool noodle fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good God, a dragon in your backfield, turn 2.
That's rough.
Like, that is just, without even like weird special scenario stuff, this was just, he just hauled ass across the board and it's now on your back line. Turn 2. Feels bad. That's one of those that feels bad in a real tournament situation when they're standing next to you, moving their units on your side of the board.
Like, what are you doing over here?
Get out of my space.
Go away.
At least normally in a real tournament, they have to walk all the way around to get to your side, all the way back, and kill up.
Could punish them that way. Be like, look what you've done to yourself.
Could you move that for me? Nope. Burn your clock. Walk all the way around the row table.
That's where you just fart and you're like, fuck you.
Oh, wow.
You're making it as inhospitable on your side as possible.
Yeah. So it's looking like he's going to block the line of sight from Julius to the rear of his units, but then in doing so will open him up to a charge, a flank, possibly a rear from the Elohi. So that will be interesting to see what he does if he decides that's worth it. The Overmaster's just sort of spinning in circles right now.
Yeah, right. I've got 4 things to worry about. Unfortunately, I'm just one dwarf on a flying bull. I can only do so much. Yeah.
So
at times like this, you're like, well, I could charge those Elohi in the woods and feel like I'm getting something done, but like, you're not really going to do enough for it to be worth committing yourself down there.
Yeah, and you're abandoning a lot of very expensive units to die to go try and clean up an Elohi regiment.
Yep.
Yes.
At this point, the song by Dead or Alive, "You Spin Me Right Round," comes into my head.
It's just on a turntable.
And you have to make sure, if this was an in-person tournament, which we're all looking forward to going back to, you clearly mark your bases before a move like this.
I thought that was going in an entirely different direction about having to play that in the venue. Because that is, having songs queued up for specific moments in the battle, I think is next level TOing.
The little clear plastic markers for marking bases. I've seen those around, but I don't ever find them online. I would love to pick up more of them.
Like the little, whatever, right
It's like a T shape. Yeah, it's a right angle T shape. You can mark where your unit was and then put them back.
I went to the hardware store to get the right angle metal brackets is what I've used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll reach out. We have Jim Ellsworth, who runs the Harvest of Souls Unplugged shout out in October. And he got some custom ones, just the little right angle edges that great for carrying. You can get a ton of them in case you leave them at the table all the time. So I'll hook you up with that, Kyle, once I chat with him.
I've played a few games, on a table since all this started, just either down in my basement with close friends in the area, that kind of thing. And like, I'm bumping everything. It's all moving because the UB is so static and so clean with the undos and the pivots. And I was just like, man, this is not, there was a very stark difference when I played.
You forget how imprecise the tabletop is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like that, it's the game. I much prefer the tabletop game. The look, the feel, the camaraderie. But it is definitely less precise. So
I think next time I do run an in-person tournament, now that you bring that up, I think I'm just gonna like 3D print a whole box of little right angles and just leave them sitting out for like everybody. Just grab a handful,
Yeah.
Take them with you. They cost like 3 cents to print or something like that.
So update on the Overmaster. He ended up not going for that. It looked like there's pretty clear line of sight from the rear of the Grotesques in Julius, so he's opting to guard
Back it all up.
guard the flank of the Grotesques, and not a good situation right now for John.
So can Julius see the rear of that grotesque regiment or horde? Sorry.
Yes.
Which one?
Both.
Both. Take your pick.
The answer is yes.
But
I think
gargoyles to the rescue here in a moment, probably.
Yeah, I think he's reset his positions and he's going to do all this again.
But that will be an unhindered charge. So
An unhindered rear, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to leave it that way.
We hope not, or he's just like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Go away.
Take
Good
him.
game.
And this is that, like, you look at an army like this, you look at the sort of couple regiments of Alohi, the Dragon, Nias, who is also sort of hanging around back there with, he hits decently hard, but the crazy thing about him is he has the nerve and armor of a, regiment of knights on a little 40 mil nimble base. So he is an amazing little, like, flank hitter, gap blocker, he's a really solid little unit there that's also hanging out just in the back right. There's a lot of mobility, speed, and that right flank just must feel, Elliot's right and John's left must just feel like being suffocated by, like, a very, very grabby octopus right now. It's just, there's just no good options. There's no space to do anything. It probably feels bad. So John's a good player, so I'm interested to see his way of sort of working his way out of this.
As an aside on that note, I'm currently playing in the Southeast tournament, and I'm playing as the Order of the Green Lady, and I've taken 2 regiments of Forsaken. So same idea, flying unit, flying regiment, and just having that ability to do these, to project threat, especially with 2 units, 2 or 3 flying units. It's amazing what it does to your opponent's battle plan. It's something I definitely never saw previously playing Rats. So I think they have a purpose and a place, whereas previously you always saw, like, hordes of Drakon riders, hordes of Alohi. They were always used as Alpha Strike hammers. And now in the regiment format, they have to be much more nimble and much more finesse play.
And I think some of that for me is still that we don't have, and maybe this will change, but we didn't have those oppressive shooting lists as much, or, like, sort of the elf, horde of elite bowmen with extra piercing that would just drop a regiment of that stuff in one round. It would just look at them, and the regiment of flyers would be pink mist. So you had to horde up, and you had to get them to survive the unfriendly skies. And with some of that threat removed, you're seeing this sort of renaissance of these light flying units. The regiments can kind of come out and play. So it's been fun to see.
All right, we got another donation in, a small donation, and the anonymous person wants to ask, on this matchup cast, has there been a time when either myself, Mike, or Kyle have not been touching our beards? And I think the answer is no. I don't think that it's possible. Or there's no dead air in moments where we have not been touching our beards. So bravo to you, anonymous hero.
It's funny you mentioned that because, like, I don't even notice that I'm doing it, but I've gone back and rewatched broadcasts we've done and found myself yelling, "Stop touching your beard, you fucking moron," at the screen to myself. So I'm like, why am I doing this constantly? That's why you grow it, so you have something to play with.
Yeah,
that's
it.
Way, man. Yeah, can hide food for later.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
You can look thoughtful when you're really just ignoring everybody. Like, it's awesome.
I've been stashing my paintbrushes in there. I just slide it, like, right there, and while I'm doing something else, I'll put the paintbrush there and then keep going.
Oh, this is the hobby chat that we needed.
I'm gonna say one of a term in a moment. I'm going to say that should make all of us throw up a little in our mouths. But at my work, there's a person who is a beard influencer.
No.
Ooh,
Like he
right.
has such a ridiculous beard and does such
Instagram
ridiculous things with it that he is, sponsored by companies and
Wow.
has a special Instagram and held a ramen bowl in his beard, and with two other parts of the beard held the chopsticks.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that kind of stuff.
it's a little insane, but that's come to Dash28 for your beard influencer hot takes.
That's it. We've covered all areas of life.
That's it.
Well, and possibly a topic that Unplugged Radio wouldn't want to talk about.
Do any of them have beards in Unplugged Radio?
John does.
Just the short, right?
Yeah.
So
Doesn't.
clearly, Unplugged Radio wants to discuss the joy of beards because
Yes. That's a
I
good
feel
one.
like Jake has been trying,
Right.
and it only grows in certain, spots to make him look more and more sketchy.
Once he gets into high school, it'll be a little bit easier for him,
When him and Tom Annis graduate high school, it's gonna be
Don't get facial hair. Oh, oof. We have. I guess there's stuff going on in this game. So the gargoyles are doing their thing.
I think the mammoth backed up some more, so its butt's now hanging out of the woods.
Mustache.
Molestache. Yeah.
Molest.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get. He's putting Julius in the flank of the mammoth instead of the rear.
Hindered in the flank.
Yeah, hindered in the flank instead of hindered in the rear. And he get that. So yeah, he's leaving him like a hindered rear on these grotesques or a hindered flank on the mammoth. Like Elliot's definitely put John in kind of a pickle here, and he's burning a lot of clock trying to get it right. He's down to almost 50 minutes of their 80-minute clocks. But it's turn two. Elliot
Pretty
came
big
out.
turn.
Came out super aggressive. I don't know that there's a perfect solution to the problem that Elliot has him in, but he's at least trying to find the best possible mitigation for it that leaves him options for his next turn. And sometimes that's
Bravo to John. He has done. He is fighting like mad. He's not giving up these flanks and rears. And I think, for myself speaking, I probably would have been like, "Yep, you can have this rear, move on." But I think he successfully mitigated it so that you can have a hindered rear, and that's it.
Or a hindered flank. But Kyle, I think the expression Jesse would use is that Elliot's going to bring the pain train in the next round.
Yes. He would, speaking of music that you would queue up, he seriously, when we were filming, it would kind of drive me nuts because he would stop in the middle of the game and pull up YouTube and have some ridiculous like 90s rap song, or he just always had a reference or a quip or something to say. And he would just start busting out and dancing. And I'm like, dude, like we got to keep rolling here. We're already at like 4 hours. He's just like, no, I gotta get my jam on. And he's bouncing around. It was great.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if this
That's
wasn't
wonderful.
an 80-minute clock, John would be in trouble. He's down at almost 50 minutes. Elliot went first and has 18. It's going to have like 18 more minutes on his clock pretty soon.
I am drawing a line right now. Okay, so now he moved out. I was going to say the Elohi on the top right that I'm not going to pronounce could still get a flank and still can get a flank on these grotesques. I don't think that with the pivot and sidestep, I don't think the gargoyles had enough speed to get. I think the top right corner of the grotesques with headstrong, yep, just like that, can still fit in.
Yeah, they're checking it. But he's trying. He's trying to deny him double charges and things like that.
But would you do that? Because at this point in time, looking at it, I'd almost go...
Just pivot the grotesques.
I would hit the grotesque in the rear with the dragon, hit the gargoyles with the regiment head on, especially if the dragon was facing the right-hand side. Just ignore it and try to punch in towards the center.
Yeah, there's this terrible feeling that can happen when you're like, you spend, as far as I can tell, an hour and a half on your turn, positioning everything just perfectly. You think you're like, okay, I've mitigated the damage. And then the other player like moves a few things slightly and repositions, and you're having to do it all again.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's delaying the inevitable, and then there's preventing it where you can advance your position somewhere else. So John has to be trying to win somewhere else, or there's always a possibility of giving up a bad charge, but creating a good situation for you in some other way.
Yep.
Now it looks like he's just trying to block their line of sight. Just
Yeah.
get in their grill and say, you can't see past me. I'm a giant bull.
Yeah, which is going to be unfortunate because when he moves all that stuff next round, that Overmaster is going to be looking at nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he will have used it to keep one of his grotesque hordes alive, and then he'll be able to flip around and see the whole rest of the battlefield and do something cool.
Yeah,
in
and I think
4.
that's the thing he's sort of going out for now. Is like, okay, I might just give them a bad charge.
Can Julius hit the Overmaster now at that where it's positioned in the front? Sorry, not Julius, Gaius.
Yes. Yeah, because of the height.
Yeah, but he's in the front, so it'd still be a front charge.
Yeah.
But
That's
he
great.
grounds
Like,
him.
they can-
takes the Overmaster out of the game, I think.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Overmasters 9 attacks or 10 attacks?
let me look.
They proper
Yeah,
dragons.
John's going to make some really tough 9 attacks. Yeah, John's
Okay.
going to make some really tough trade-offs. Hope to weather what's coming in turn 2 and still have stuff in good position to counterpunch. Excuse me, in Elliot's turn 3, and then still have stuff available to counterpunch at the bottom of turn 3. So yeah, like I think he's done a really good job with the mess that Elliot put him in here and in minimizing how damaging Elliot's alpha strike here is going to be next turn.
Yeah,
But
because
we'll see.
have to. At the end of the day, that's still 3 hordes of grotesques and a mammoth. Like,
Yeah,
if they hit something, when they hit something, that something has a tendency to melt.
all right. John's moving one of his rockets here because he couldn't shoot anything with it, so he's just turning it so he can get a better bead on the rest of the field. I think that one probably shot at the mammoth.
Looks like causing 1 wound.
I think so. Yep.
Sploosh.
1 wound on the Pope-mobile.
There it is. I mean, shoot what doesn't have Iron Resolve, right? Might as well.
right. Right. Everything else is just going to shrug it off.
Yep.
Yeah, and like when you've brought like all of the artillery to the party, you hate it to be turn 2 and you're moving them to get better shots. Like these are the turns when you really would rather be able to open up on people, but you take what you can get. So here's the gargoyles going in. Only got 1 hit and did no wounds to the bite. And now here's the other gargoyles on the Panthers, supported by the half-breed champ. They did way better. Racking up 4 wounds. That's really good for gargoyles.
Mm-hmm.
And the half-breed champ with Blade of Slashing. Does not convert Blade of Slashing.
So already the gargoyles did better.
Ooh.
But he's going to do 3. That's going to bring them to 7. That's going to be a pretty easy pickup for him.
Ooh, just barely. Wow. Good thing they had those gargoyles.
Waiver.
Is that only a waiver?
10?
Are they 10, 12?
I think they're 8-10.
No,
right?
they're
They're
9-11. They're 9-11. Girl Panthers are 9-11.
Oh, Panthers. I was thinking about the gargoyles. This is the expert analysis you don't pay for.
And here's the...
Not sure it likes the waiver.
Yeah, who does that benefit? That's a good question.
All right, and it looks like the other one, the other half-breed champ does ground Julius. I don't know how much that really affects what he's going to do with him. There's a vicious roll, so that'll be 2 wounds.
He probably likes that waiver, honestly, a little bit better, because that keeps the slice, just can't do anything except for sidestep, as opposed to having to overrun with his gargoyles and losing them. I don't think he minds.
No, I don't think he minds.
Are there any charges to blow up the half-breed and then into the gargoyles?
Possibly the mammoth. I don't know how strong the mammoth is in this game, but
All right, I think that is going to bring us to the end of John's turn 2 and bring us to Elliot's turn 3. We'll see what Elliot can do with what he was left with here. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
Did he not do
sometimes
any?
wavering check. They're not what?
Oh, 3 wounds to Julius. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said bastard Julius, and I was wondering if he rolled like a double ones or something. All right.
Yeah. Sometimes like that initial screening chaff you throw forward, getting wavered, can mess your plan up pretty bad because you're like, well, okay, sure, I can go in with everything that I can fit around it, or that I can if I can move it out of the way. But if you were planning for a big crushing blow from multiple sides, that like slowing up part of your attack for one turn and giving your opponent like one more turn to kind of maneuver and plan can sometimes really screw you up, especially if you're planning for like an alpha strike.
That's why so many people love the fearless chaff.
Fearless
Because
chaff.
It's that binary. It's there or it's not. It's fully operational or gone.
Yep.
It's the Death Star.
Yeah.
And even then.
Yeah.
Love that thick chaff. So I think we're into turn 3 and no one's killed anything yet.
No.
All right, and it looks like Elliot is thinking about taking the hindered rear on that middle grotesque horde.
I mean, yeah. So, what does everyone think? Is that that's the charge, right?
I think I'd take the one closest to the right, not the middle.
No, I think the middle one is the one that I would go for because your chaff got wavered in front. So if you at least hit that from the back,
You're putting the pressure in the same spot there.
you're putting the pressure in the same spot, and you're taking away the thunderous charge that those grotesques would have the next turn.
So that's my initial thought is, like if you drag it into the rear of the ones on our right, John's left, if you are not seriously threatening them with something else, they just turn around and punch your dragon back.
Yeah.
And so you need a threat to their front. Now I think he has some threats to the front of the other one, so that could have still been a viable move. But he's really trying to press that middle section and win it out.
I think that's a good move too. That's for the tokens. If he breaks through that, the bottom center has all the tokens.
Yeah, there is this weird thing in this game called objectives. Right now, they just seem to be absolutely beating on each other and not caring. It's the classic like turn 4. What are objectives?
What's the scenario?
That's a turn 5 concern.
Yeah,
that's how I play every game.
But there's something really interesting Elliot can be doing here, where if you have Nias and 2 regiments of Alohi, who right now have been used as threats and sort of maneuver pieces, if those are still alive late game, those are incredible objective grabbers.
Yes, and holders. Dash28 with Iron Resolve, defense 5. It's great.
Like
Especially
they'll shrug off
in the woods.
They'll shrug off late rocket hits or whatever else, or last minute desperate charges.
Yeah, the half breeds. Yep, those will be the ones trying to kill you at the end of the game.
So it's going to be an interesting whether he sort of sacrifices them or he keeps using them as threats that never engage, and then they can be great objective grabbers in the backfield or in this sort of open area in the middle late game.
For the Alohi horde that's at the top, regiment that's at the top, is there any chance that the half-breed could have its arc in the front to challenge it, or is it always going to be on the side?
Oof. I think it's always going to be in the flank.
Okay.
I don't think he's wide enough to be able to turn and still see them and be
Wow. How did not see that. Just squeaked in that charge on the half-breed. Go Elliot.
with the mammoth. Yeah, I kind of suspected, like when I was assuming that they were going to kill the Gur Panthers, I was like, well, then what though? How do you protect that half-breed? If you sidestep him, the mammoth will just slide in and hit him. If you back him up, the mammoth will just run forward and hit him. So I think he had to kind of accept that was going to happen.
You'd think by all the games of UB I've played that I would know the scale by now to see like which charges are likely and which aren't. But I guess I'm still used to tabletop. I was like, oh yeah, there's no way he could fit and turn that corner with the angle, and then clearly really good charge. And I'll put him in great position for next turn too.
And then he's going to try and send his other Gur Panthers around to chop up that area, right?
Right.
And make
Mhm.
it.
Which I feel like I'm not sure that that's what he was planning on doing. That might be because the other Gro Panthers got wavered. That he has to kind of stall the assault and throw more chaff out to kind of hold everything up for another turn.
I really like the play that John's doing with these gargoyles, where he can either contest this one at the bottom, or I would just send them into this bottom left token and hold it for the end of the game. Maybe
Yeah.
either the pie has to sit out for the rest and chase them, or you get a free victory point, which every point helps with 3 rounds.
Yep.
I mean, I think I definitely like that it's a bold move into an unoccupied area of the map where it can cause trouble. I think there's a choice to be made about committing to an objective now versus putting yourself in a position where you can still influence the battle, but pivot to an objective late in the game. Like, I'm not sure I would just fly them down there and sit there, because as Elliot, I might say, like, great, okay, you get that one. And I don't have to care about your gargoyles anymore. If there's a way he can play it where he's able to pivot to an objective late, but still be in a position to save a unit of grotesques or
Yep.
do something
So-
really critical.
So I would like to point out before we go too much further that 3-die roll there was Kyle healing the Pizza Jesus Pope Mobile.
Good job, Kyle.
Good job,
Yeah.
Kyle. Go Kyle.
Get some.
And now we've moved on to combat, and of course the bite has made short work of those gargoyles.
Because the bite is more dangerous than the bark.
Yes.
And he has gotten all up in the face of that other grotesque unit. And now we're going to move on to the mammoth on this half-breed champ.
So he's just hoping he survives the grotesque charge, right? That's all he can do.
Oh,
Pretty,
wow.
pretty much. Hello.
That hurt.
10 out of 12 hits. Not bad.
Now, with the overrun, could he have sidestepped instead to give these grotesques a hindered charge? Or are they still going to be hindered going in? It looks close.
Well, no, because he just moves forward 1 millimeter, touches, and picks up
Yeah.
places. So I don't think he's going to...
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be hindered. I had wondered if after that combat, if he had sidestepped, then maybe the grotesques would have had to go through the terrain to get the closest. But well, there we go. It just picked up some great rolls in 9, then an 11.
Yep.
10 attacks.
The lack of dojo donations come into play.
It's the karma. That's what it is. We told
just
them
love-
already if the higher donations would win. The fix.
I love those bumper car charges where it's like the mammoth just like bonk, bonk. just like murders something and then just sort of backs up a little, ready to do it again. Like,
How thematic is that for Jesse? Like, yep, here's the mammoth, just killing units, picking them up one at a time.
That's 11 wounds on the grotesques from Julius, and then a 10 rolled for Nerve. And the half-breed champ is gone, so that's it. That's going to be big.
What?
that's one of those where I'm
Jojo,
like,
send in donations quickly. Oh God.
that's
Should've thrown that up
one of
earlier,
those where I'm like looking extra hard at the battlefield. I'm like double checking the special rules to see if that Strider has inspiring. Like, I'm taking a
Right.
moment to just be like, oh, feels bad.
That is going to
That apparently was the right decision.
Yeah.
The right decision was breaking the grotesques in one charge.
With
And I
an
think that's going
incredible
to
roll.
I think that's going to bring us to the end of Elliot's third turn.
It's a productive turn.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Anytime you can pick up every unit that you charge, just about, it's
Right.
good.
Okay, so what does John do?
That's the question.
Get his friends to donate more money so he can have a couple rolls above a 10. That's how it works.
That's the
Science.
Well, he really needs to one-shot the bite with those
Yes.
grotesques. That's pretty much got to happen. I guess his gargoyles here in the middle are free to do whatever they want, so they need to get in the way of something important. The Overmaster needs to get in position to do something useful next turn. The half-breed champ that's remaining up here, I don't know. Needs to get in the way of some Alohi or something. Yeah, he just needs to even the odds. Basically, he needs to pick up some units.
And
but I guess the half-breed is pretty much going to run over and punch Julius if he can.
Yeah, and the Overmaster has to worry about Nias.
He is going to be hindered with those.
Ew, that's going to hurt.
That's what you get for being a bigger unit. Bunch of fat-ass grotesques. I will say, though, that like grotesques are traditionally one of the scariest looking units on any battlefield. Like the mantic ones are terrifying to see on a battlefield. Any of the like third party or other ones people have used in the past, for the most part, are a terrifying looking unit. It's just they look like they're bringing the pain at all times. So.
Does he put Pizza Jesus into the slice? Or can he? If he moves the gargoyles over.
If he moves the gargoyles, he might be able to slide it through there.
Yeah. Boy, these grotesques are kind of trapped. And just like you called earlier, Mike and Brenton, the Overmaster is just getting danced around, you know. Oof. I mean, in turn 5, he'll come into play. But right now, when they need him most, he's facing the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. He's facing the wrong way, and anywhere he goes that's useful, he's going to get a smack from Nias.
Yeah.
Which isn't the end of the world, but it's basically a guaranteed grounding. And if he gets the first smack in, Nias will win that fight eventually.
He will. Yeah, it's unfortunate because he put the Overmaster there to keep these grotesques alive, basically, right? Like to make sure the Alohi couldn't get in the flank and Julius couldn't get in their rear. So that was a play to try to keep all of the grotesque hordes alive, and he's lost the middle grotesque horde anyway, and now his Overmaster's not facing a useful direction.
But I think it's even worse than that. He put the Overmaster on his left-hand flank to stop the flying movement around, and because he didn't keep him back or even turned
or angled, the
aggressive movement right from the start.
Yeah, I mean they. Not to be mean to John. John's a great player.
Great player, absolutely.
He's a great player, but that Overmaster basically just served as like a traffic control guy with cones, just waving the Alohi Air Force through. Like they just blew right past him. There wasn't very little actual defense that happened there. Elliot did a great job of just sort of layering his threats and putting them in different spots and just blowing right by. And normally you would think like, I have my own dragon and I have mounted individuals that can sit down any flyer. I am safe. And Elliot was like, "You're not safe. I'm still in your backfield. I'm in your base."
and landing in the backfield and putting the half-breed champ back there in the flank so it couldn't block your move is one of those like pro level Kings of War positioning kind of things to do.
Yeah, there's not a lot of chatter on the regiments of Alohi. I brought them to Dragonfall and loved them. Just the fact they project threat, they're very durable. I think they're better than the hordes of Alohi now, especially at their price.
Well, because the hordes of Alohi are trash.
Well, but that takes away my point when you apply logic to it. So, what are we doing otherwise?
they got the dreaded triple nerf.
Yes,
where they were nerfed in effectiveness, in army build, and in maneuverability all at once. So
Jesse actually used to suggest that units have a living legend status. So if you had the Alohi and they still had their badass beat stick stats in the horde that we were used to in second edition, but then you could only take 0 to 2, or you put the living legend 1 next to a unit, but you make this one 2. Just because obviously you don't want to be able to build a list out with them, but if you take them, you want them to be the big deal that they are.
So my opinion is that Basilia had their fun, That Clash of Kings pack with the 2 formations, like that was your chance. That was your sunshine. You're in the dark now. It'll come back around eventually.
Buy
But,
some Ogre Palace guard. Shut up.
Take your licks because that was a damn good year. And I'm
just
sorry if you didn't get to
watch
play
this
much
country.
that year, but you had your fun.
So do you guys think that the meta in general is in a good place, or do you think that there are things that need to be tweaked?
How much time you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring back 4+ shooting for elves. You take away the piercing. Like seriously, you've taken away the piercing. You've taken away any of that. I don't play.
You're coming in garbled. I can't hear a single thing you're saying. Something about making the hunters and tribal spears better in herd. The trappers. Chieftain.
The thing I would like to be brought back is playing with my friends in person again.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to judge the meta only on UB because UB is not the in-person meta.
Amen.
It's super important data points, and I think it's super useful. I'm not here to discount it at all, but it's a very different meta when you can just create what you want. Generally, play without sports score, play without hobby scores, and that sort of thing.
Rocket's red glare coming in on Julius.
Yeah, this is his Hail Mary here. See if he can ground Julius.
Get some dunks.
It looks like didn't stick the landing on that one.
Yeah.
I'd rolled 5 hits, but then only 3 wounds.
Yeah, a couple of ones.
Hmm.
And didn't convert that many. I think the meta's in a fairly good place. I obviously would love to be able to play in person with people and have a better idea of it. And I think that playing online, the whole UB thing, where while I don't actually have to make these units, I would never buy these models just to try this once. People have gotten to experiment with lots of different stuff and kind of shake third head out a little bit by trying a lot of stuff that they wouldn't take to a competitive event. You might bring blank bases and try it with your friends, but you wouldn't try it against 4 or 5 other opponents from different countries. So yeah, it's an interesting data point for the edition as a whole, but I don't think it's going to translate to an in-person meta. I've enjoyed playing on UB this past year.
I've got a meeting scheduled with Ronnie on Wednesday where I am updating him on my opinion of the state of 3rd edition in the game in general. So if you want to make a donation and tell me what you would like to have changed, then I will bring that up.
Wow.
We're gonna what Kyle didn't mention is he has a separate PayPal for that.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly remind people of where the donations can go before somebody else steps in.
Staying Stone. Not to discount that big news. So, folks, if you want to get your opinions heard straight to the Bard himself, donate now and ask a question, and we will have that brought right to Ronnie. So Ronnie will get whatever your question is. Could be intimate, could be game-related, could be both. And the grotesques did not waver the bite. So 2 big things happening right there.
So
that's rough.
Paying off.
That's just it wasn't guaranteed, especially because they were hindered. But you really needed it. You needed a roll up on that. Well, you needed them not to be hindered, but you needed a roll up on that. And this feels like one of those situations where I don't know if anyone's a fan of soccer or football. For those who also say maths, there's all the time where a shot/cross will go in, and there's no way that the player intended that. It was always going to be a pass, and it just fluked into the net, and they will always claim it as oh no, I meant to do that. I think that's the situation here with Elliot. He's going to say he always knew they'd be hindered when they came back at him. That was all part of my plan of going around this building. They were going to be hindered on the counter charge or on the reverse charge. But that is a tough beat for John.
It's tough.
Making that hindered.
It is. John has picked up all the chaff in the middle, though.
Yep.
So that's good. It's good news for him.
Kyle, I'm going to ask, and I promise I will put forward a donation. But I'm going to take advantage of the platform and ask whether or not there's going to be special rules for the special warlock that has come out, and whether or not it's going to be a special character coming forward.
Oh, good question.
As of right now, I think it's just the model design, but the rules committee has already spoken to me, Elliot and Matt in particular, about doing something specific either for it or for possibly like a special character giant kind of thing. I had spoken to Matt James about the giant, and the thing that was unique about Sweaty Gigante is that Jesse rolled a 1 to hit on the D6 for the attacks every single time. And then he would proceed to roll an 11 or 12 on the nerve. So Matt's suggestion was something like reducing the amount of attacks for the giant, but giving it like brutal 3.
Triple brutal.
That's amazing.
So things like that. I think that a lot of people might want to use that for Nom Nom. I would like to see that. It literally was, we knew we needed a new Warlock model.
Yep.
And when I spoke to Ronnie about it, he was like, talk to Matt, we'll see what needs to be made. And Jesse was totally cool with that, and he got super excited to do the whole process. I would like to see a special character made from it, but I think that it may not have the pure association with a model. Like maybe the rules committee will come out with something and say that like this is that special warlock, but like it could be inferred that that's the model it's supposed to go to, because I think from Mantic's perspective, it'll just be ogre warlock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a rad model. Like
it's so good.
The old ogre warlock is a little seeing its age, you know. And I was looking at all kinds of ways to do 100% manic ogres next, and what I was going to try and use for warlocks. And then you're like, hey, we just released one that's amazing. It's like, oh, that'll do. I'll just wait for that one. So.
The new hero sculpts are really nice. The bully,
yeah, they're all going to get in, even if I'm not using that, like whatever actual unit that is. There's a bunch of stuff I love in the ogre army that I'm just going to be using as other things. Like my original plan is I was going to use hunters as warlocks. Because
I'm going to have that. Like I'm not going to play ogres, but I'm going to have that model on the table next to me in every game I play.
Absolutely. And since it's large infantry, it can fit in just about anywhere. Kind of like Julius just did to the rear of these grotesques.
I don't think he fits there. I think he's going to make a hole.
Oh, man.
So in John's turn 3, he picked up a lot of chaff in the middle. He didn't waver. That was those Ogre Palace Guard on the far left. He grounded at a low-high regiment over on the right. And I think he was not able to get his mammoth completely out of the forest on a reform. Yeah. So he just decided to angle it the way he wanted it and take what was likely going to be a hindered flank charge from Similohi.
And what's crazy here is that the 2 Palace Guard hordes in the middle that looked like the punch that was going to go up the middle and really fight this out. There's a very real possibility they basically don't fight all game.
That's a good point.
And it's that the threat they were projecting squeezed John into a space he could not escape from and allowed these more mobile units to sort of come in and start doing work.
So you can double charge them?
Yeah, Elliot's trying to work out a double charge here with both of the Elohi.
Yeah.
Since he can't get anything else into the mammoth with the gargoyles in the way.
Yeah.
You can't kill the mammoth, man. Come on.
No. Famous last words. Mammoths don't die.
So, two mammoths enter, 1 mammoth leaves.
They got that They've got that fat ass flank. That like, oh, chariot base is great until like, the entire world fits on this flank.
Right.
Like, come on in.
All right, and we have received our donation from Ray Shield. So, man of his word, answered the question. We are adding in $25.97. You bastard.
What does that bring the total for the broadcast up to?
As soon as Keith loads his calculator, we'll let you know. I haven't even cracked a beer yet. I need to start doing that. $25.97 plus the total.
Another beer now.
94. 03 plus.
We're hanging on this.
Oh, geez, I didn't know you guys were still listening.
Everyone just
Oops.
stop.
$720 exactly.
Awesome.
Thank you for the nice whole number. Right.
I'm sure you thought it was a weird number when you got it. And I'm like,
I know that was all the way at the beginning of the podcast. Who remembers that? Quick math. Thank you, Jesse. Oh God.
Sweet. So that's currently our total, $720. So Dash 28 will be matching
It
that
is
at the end
not
of the broadcast.
total. Tom Annis just came through with another $50 donation. We are now up to $770.
Awesome.
Tom, go ahead and message me whatever question you would like Kyle to ask Ronnie.
It's coming now, attached to a Raven, in a tiny like ciphered script that requires a separate decoder book that is coming from a separate 3 Ravens carrying the book. The Spy Master doesn't want people to know his questions.
Yeah.
In a year when the next book comes out and there's a buff to some unit that Tom has magically painted 5 of without anyone noticing, you'll know how it works.
Decimator's buff.
So that's what's coming.
Right. All of a sudden, Ratkin slaves are really good, and no one knows where that came from.
Right.
Tom just magically has a bunch of them painted. What?
Oh, that's crazy. I just have been
crazy.
painting these the last year in my bunker.
We've got a ton of models for him now, so it's a possibility.
True.
I just don't get rid of models and hope that the meta comes back around to my terrible army. That's the long con. Is like, I just build an army and it takes me 3 years to paint it. So by the time I'm done, they might be good.
Yeah.
I actually have done that in
It's
the
like
past.
investing in stocks.
I'm like, well, this unit isn't very good. Like Impalers right at the start of 3rd, 170. I was like, they're not very good. They're probably going to get some attention. So I'm going to build them up because by the time 3rd edition's done and I actually have this army completed, then they'll be good.
Yeah.
They'll have like formations and.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hot ass ogre army for 4th edition launch.
Yeah.
It's going to be freaking sweet. So.
All right, we have a second donation coming in the tune of $53.16 from Nick Williams, who would like to say that, great tag, Mike. That's wonderful. Who would like to say that they can't have Doge winning, so this puts the Northern Kings in the lead. And question for Ronnie, can ogres please get a good combat individual? Red Goblin Bigot is even more worthless than a dwarf. Well done.
All right. I'm taking.
I do like how he specified individual, because my first thought was like a good combat character.
Got tons of them.
Right? We only have a dozen options. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, so that poor grotesque horde on the left, our left, John's right, is getting tag teamed. We have, the man, that one grotesque horde in the woods is like, where'd my army go? They're just looking around, kind of.
Dude, where's my?
Why is there nothing for me to charge? I don't understand. They said that there was a battle going on.
Where's all my pod mates? We all got grown together in some weird vat in a mountain, and now they're all going away.
Yeah, and he's just back Nias up so that like nothing can really get to him except maybe this half breed champ 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Nope, can't quite get to him.
Dude, Nias is being a big old tease this game.
That night positioning is pretty good, like pretty amazing, like top tier. Just hiding,
dancing around,
waiting to pounce on that objective over there on the far right. If John moves his stuff away,
pinning a bunch of extra points in place.
Yep.
Being a big old Naya shaped jerk. I might have some Nias TSD.
There's looks like a Bane Chant roll on one of the Elohi regiments.
There it is.
From Kyle, the Chronicler of Legend.
Oh, Kyle, you failed your Conjurer staff roll, Kyle.
Because can't have the mammoth getting killed. That's why, obviously.
Oh, good call.
Can't have the mammoth getting killed.
He's not. Yeah, he's not helping damage against that thing.
Nope.
The Lohi. No, I ain't helping no Lohi.
Nope.
Fuck that.
Just mammoths. I work exclusively with mammoths. All right, here we go. Only 24 elite attacks in the rear. Can he? Yep.
I still got to roll damage. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Oof.
All right. And then the ogres. Oof.
The
I'm
horror.
not trying to make you do more maths, Mike, but how many by the end of this game? How many points will Julius have eaten?
Good grief. Let's see. Grotesques are 260 or 250 in this list, so at least 510.
Dude, it's top of 4. He has time to go get that other one.
Right. You can get them all. You can kill the
He's
whole
only
family.
eating grotesque today.
That'd be, what, 770?
Oof.
I want to say. So that's a 315 point model, picking up double its points back.
How far away are they from the rockets? The bite and... Okay.
They are within 12 of one, but out of 12 of the other.
I think I would have sidestepped to the left to get the bite within 12 inches of both. And then, I don't know, consideration charging them to get rid of the rockets, or do you just ignore them?
I don't know. It looks like maybe he's turned Julius to face the rockets. Is that the way he's looking?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Julius is going to go eat some rocket launchers while the other ones do their normal job. I mean, there is this weird thing called objectives in the game that he may want to get.
Right.
man.
Freaking, why are you talking about that? I'm only on my second beer. Like, you don't do objectives until at least beer 3.
Right?
Sorry. This is why I lose.
You're gonna get banned from this chat if you keep saying the O word.
Well, I'm used to playing dwarves and kingdoms of men and things where it's like, repositioning to fight for objectives is something you have to think about before the game's even started. You're like, where I put these giant battleships of units down is going to be important. So we're headed towards objective from turn 0. But
Right. Kind of telegraphing where you're going to be in turn 6 by how you deploy, because you don't really
Orcs.
have any other choices.
well, for kingdoms of men, it's exactly where they started. Just hopefully bloodier. Like,
Oh,
Right.
21 hits. Only 6 wounds.
Only 6 wounds.
yeah, mammoth.
Mammoth. Tried to warn you.
Come on, Mammoth. And then rolls a 9. That's okay.
Yep.
Wavered.
Mammoths are Dash28, right?
No, yeah, okay.
I say, there's no way you can waver a Mammoth. That's crazy talk.
No. And if you could have, we would have made the
fixed
custom
that.
roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse talked about it constantly. He took it in a game once. He was just master level trolling everything.
when there's the truth in the legend, you print the legend, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Did he
It doesn't
win
matter
one?
if he took the mammoth. He talked about the mammoth.
He got a really interesting flank charge on my Soul Reaver infantry with it, and it was hindered, and it was right after it got Strider. So he was happy as hell that it, he was just like, Strider, baby.
It's getting hot here again listening to Ooh, tell me about dead Soul Reaver infantry.
No, he didn't pick him up. That was the thing. I think he rolled snakes or something.
Oh, never mind.
Off camera, he was like, I'm never taking that thing again.
It's cool down in here.
But it's got Strider.
I feel
Strider.
like that is one of the units that is the most universally hated if you're not currently running them.
Soul Reavers.
Soul Reaver infantry.
Yeah, Soul Reaver infantry is the like, unless they are literally in your army right now doing a charge, you hate them.
And after the game, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Feel dirty. Have to go
Yep.
wash.
I took him all the time in second edition, and I refused to take him now in third.
Just, Do you want the unit that can do everything? Okay, here you go.
They got cheaper.
They got cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a valid question, Kyle. What army are you painting up to play next? Because you painted Soul Reavers in second edition, and you were talking about them in third. What are you painting right now?
Well, I'm painting Twilight Kin right now, so
Yep. Buffs incoming.
don't pay attention to that.
Nope. Nothing. No takeaways from that.
You have a bunch of
Nothing
old
cool
dark elves.
coming. Yeah. Nope.
Stock price on Twilight Kin. It's coming up in the future.
They actually are the really old models. Both I'm using the original elf models and then the original first edition Twilight Kin models. I had the casting team find the molds and make them for me because I have to play with Mantic stuff. So I was like, I really want to play with this army, but Ronnie was like, yeah, just ask them, they'll do it. And I was like, okay, yeah,
Perks.
Job perks.
Kyle's over here low-key recruiting the entire broadcast.
Right.
Like, you can get them to make custom models for you, you say.
Okay.
And they count as Mantic models, you say.
We have, let's see on this game, a counter charge from the Mammoth going in, and that resulted in 3 wounds. Now,
So is this
No, they already had 3 wounds. This is the bottom of 4.
Oh,
and I
bottom
think
of 4.
John is still doing his moves. I think those are the 3 wounds that half-breed champ did to them on the way in.
this is like the second counter charge this game? That's how much stuff has been just picked up.
oh yeah,
It feels like I really do think besides the left hand, it's the third. I think there was the left hand
No, I think you're right with seconds. Left hand Palace.
gargoyles,
Guard.
then palace, then this.
But the gargoyles they wavered them, so that wasn't even a counter charge.
No, I mean the gargoyles charged the ogres, and then the ogres charged them back.
And,
right?
and the ogres counter charged them, yeah.
Where they failed to do any wounds because they.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're gargoyles.
Because they're gargoyles, yeah.
But
what
it
they
is
do.
just it's sort of interesting. Like everything that has fought has been incredibly deadly, mostly on the side of Elliot's stuff. It's been a very effective. Just I don't know if it's the amazing karma from the donations from that side of the pond. It's just giving him those great nerve rolls.
I think that's what it is.
Yep.
But it's been an incredibly bloody. There have not been protracted combats anywhere.
Yep. I kind of like what John is now doing here on this right side and towards the backfield, which is basically just like, okay, I'm just going to run and sit on some objectives. I'm going to get behind you and know how this game is going and know that I'm going to get as many points as I can before it's over. And this is how I'm going to do it, by just getting in position on objectives and not trying to fight you.
Can the Palace Guard see the grotesque off to the right?
They can't see him through the forest.
Well,
no,
that's
but they
front
can.
arc. They can see them.
They can
Yeah.
draw a line of sight there.
They can, yeah.
But they're out of.
Look,
Out of range, right?
Yeah.
3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, they're just out of range.
Yeah.
So that's good.
But there is
Alright.
an interesting sort of if John just student body is right, and with his flyer and his gargoyles can sit on 3 objectives. The grotesques. I mean, you're sort of in a position where you have like 4 scoring units, and you're assuming 3 get on objectives.
We have a donation update. An anonymous donor has donated $5 to ask Ronnie what was his favorite beer when he came to the U.S. Masters. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Which U.S. Masters?
Uh,
Anonymous donor.
yeah, anonymous donor. Let me message them back.
I guess he has come to a couple, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He was in
We'll
Texas
take
and
the
New
last
York.
one. The last one that he attended. Assume if I don't hear back from this person.
All right, the Rockets are putting some more wounds, trying to put some more wounds on the bite.
Yeah.
It looks like they failed
Because-
to break them.
I'm not saying this is a good chance here. This is where we get into like if you're a football fan where you're hoping for like we do an onside kick and we recover it and then we immediately score and we do another onside kick.
Oh
and
my
we
God.
recover it.
I'm a New England Patriots fan, so there was a Super Bowl, let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah. It's shocker that there's a New England Patriots fan wanting to tell us about that Super Bowl.
Especially now after we had a crappy season.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
live in
sorry.
the past.
I'm sorry you had one crappy season. Was a Chargers fan until my team left. So, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, there is a world where he throws all his stuff to the right, besides the gargoyles, kills what's over there, sits on 3 objectives, 2 with the flyers and 1 with the grotesque, and then this mammoth just tries to make life hard and to get on 4 objectives to win for Elliot. I think that is a pain-inducing stretch, but I think that's his best chance at trying to squeak a draw.
So what do you do with Nias right now? That to me is the question.
I mean, Nias could just leave again, get on the other side of that hill, peace out. Although then the half-breed can track him down.
Well, he can, but if he turns and runs away from all of the objectives, like, sure, send your Overmaster after me, but you're going the wrong way.
No, you send the half-breed after him. And the
Well, if he
Overmaster-
can just turn and get behind those rocks, then the half-breed won't be able to see him anymore because that's impassable terrain, right? It's like height 9.
Yep.
So if he just turns and gets out of line of sight, then like, okay, send your scoring unit after me.
Can he go after the grotesque?
Yeah, it looks like he has.
He could.
Yeah. I think I'd do that and then plan for the flank charge and then they're gone. So then you're only worrying about 2 scoring units at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think this is a good question to ask John when we wrap up and bring them both back. Is like, at what point in these turns did he start? If so, make a transition to playing for points as opposed to the win.
When exactly did your nuts pucker?
That was the one. Yeah.
So did you unclinch at any point during this game?
Just the whole time.
It's like, well, turn 2 when Julius flew behind me. From then on.
From then on, that was the defining moment.
Yeah.
That's one of those where psychologically, like, I'm in a tournament and there's a dragon in my backfield, turn 2, I'm like, why do I play this game? Why am I the worst? And like you work your way out of it and you might do some great moves, but there's always those times in these games when you're just in a bad spot. And you're like, why am I even here?
Why am I here? I wonder how my friends' games are going.
Right?
Like I flew to this thing.
Out of here.
I traveled across a country to get here, and now there's a dragon.
Why
in
do
my
I make such
backfield.
poor life choices? So bad.
I bought a special little bag to put my special little army in. This is my weekend.
like maybe I'll do okay in paint.
Just think like Jesse. Go for sports.
Go
I
for
was about to say, like, clearly you're not winning sports because you're already visibly pouting at the table at that point.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
I'm way too unlikable a person to get sports, so I have to try and paint.
You have to try and paint.
Try it, man. 60 minutes out from round 3. All right. Moving right along today. Great day
Moving right
today.
along. And we will be bringing you probably the top table match from round 3, starting at 4:30. That is in an hour. That'll be at a separate URL, but we'll post that to Facebook, or you can just go to our YouTube channel and you can see it there as a scheduled broadcast. We will again be matching any donations that come in during that one as well. And yeah, we'll see who ends up on the top table. We don't know yet. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna get a special view of Keith's calculator in the bottom there instead of the clock next time.
Oh, yeah.
him,
It's just ticking up.
just him punching away. I like to think it's one of the old timey like tape calculators where you're hitting it. It's
Oh, I would like to mention that last night when we did the pairings announcements, we each made predictions as to who we thought would win each round, and I can say that Jesse Bilbia did win that by selecting by calling 12 out of the 19 matches correctly.
that's pretty good.
He's the worst.
It is pretty good.
I mean, go Jesse or something.
He's also answering rules questions, though, right? So
Right.
he could have rigged the shit out of this.
It's
Like,
true.
Just bold face. Oh, that's a hindered charge there. What? We're in the. It's a hindered charge. I'm the rules.
Yeah. I wonder, sometimes when you're watching those pairing live casts and you're like, the TO just said they're certain I'm going to lose. I feel bad about that. Then I feel like maybe I shouldn't show up.
Dude,
To people running
I've
the
had
tournament
people
or against me.
contact me after and complain about what I said in the matchings cast. It's been funny. It's like I'm not going to this tournament and like have zero skin in this game, and we're making this up. Like, you can still win just because some dude on the internet said you might not doesn't mean.
Yeah. We have another donation just in. Mark Zielinski, countercharge. Donation of $25. Thank you, Mark. And I did let him know that he has the opportunity to ask a question. So be prepared for some kind of epic narrative question about a subtext from one of the books that will confuse the rest of us, and Kyle will probably know. Maybe.
And it looks like Elliot just pulled off a heal 3 on heal 3.
Yes!
Kyle, you're
Kyle.
feeling sick.
Keeps a spare wand in his beard. That's
Yep.
how it goes.
There you go. Yeah, I'll always remember watching pairings live cast that Jesse would do, where he would just randomly grab 2 action figures from somewhere in his room and just start. All right, let me tell you how this match is going to go, and he'd just start banging them together, and then he would throw one over his shoulder and say, "This guy's going to win," something like that. It was
And
awesome.
that's the thing for me is I am not normally someone who gravitates towards sort of the big quotation marks like personalities. Oftentimes I find that those folks to be a little like they're putting on an act or they're being fake.
Abrasive.
And like Jesse was a genuinely unique big personality that was not putting on an act and not being abrasive. And that's the thing I found sort of so warm and comforting for him is this is not the type of personality I would normally want to hang out with. And it didn't matter. He was awesome. Like it's that sort of rose above the stereotype. And normally like someone pushing action figures together on a matchup cast, I would be like a little cringy. And for him, I'm laughing my ass off because it's just how he is.
It was just genuinely him.
Yeah.
Yep.
His mom actually contacted me yesterday.
The note is just, can you finish painting these for me, bro?
Sucker.
I have high hopes of being able to, like, I would love to take his ogres to a tournament or something like that and just play with him for him, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Could do like a traveling model, like take one of his characters.
Yeah.
Whoever wins best sports at that GT, give him that character. And then the next GT that they go to, they give it to the next best sports and see a model travel around the world.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
Or just back and forth.
Back and forth.
Kevin Spears and one other person.
Oh, God.
and like
Kevin
Tim,
Spears.
Tim Smith or something like that.
Chris Murphy.
Chris Murphy.
Like it's just the two of them handing it back and forth at every
Like,
event.
good to
Well, it
see
could
you
definitely
again.
be sweaty Gigante because that thing's got so much lacquer on it, it would survive the trip.
Right.
I got butt dialed by Mark Zielinski, so I don't know if that means I owe money or does he owe me money? That's a good question.
He's like that Venmo was actually supposed to be for takeout food.
Yep. Awkward.
I'm gonna need that back. That was for bagels.
That was for bagels.
And Julius picks up one of the rockets.
Yum yum yum.
It'd be great if he didn't get one of those. Like just happen to roll snakes on that after he took out the grotesques.
Right.
Yeah, so he picked up the mammoth. The plan I was talking about is basically null and void because he has 3 flying, units. So he can sit on basically any objectives he wants at this point. And John's either just playing for pride or to salvage some points because it is only a 3-round tournament. So
Elliot wants to make it known that he rolled out the war engine combat so Nick wouldn't yell at him.
No double ones.
No.
It can happen. So that's going to bring us into bottom of 5.
But yeah, I'm sort of the opposite on. It's a 3-round tournament. I'm not going to play for every point there. I'm going to play for pride because like it stops mattering once you're not. It's kind of 3-0. Just crush and kill.
Just crush.
Just pick a unit and make it die. it doesn't even matter who it is.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why I'm a big fan of giving out prizes for things other than just best battle or first, second, and third battle,
Yeah.
because it gives the rest of the field something to play for. Like countercharge is a great example of you lost one game, but hey, maybe you can still walk away with something nice because you ended up as countercharger. And I like giving a nice prize for the wooden spoon. Like whoever comes in at the bottom. I usually like having something nice for those folks. So even if you're having a bad weekend, it's worth toughing it out for the whole entirety of the event. Because you got a shot at something.
I'm a big fan of giving them a different game because at this point, Kings of War is not their game.
Yeah.
Like,
I went to many Bay Area tournaments out there where you currently live, where the starter set for a different game was the prize for whoever came in last.
Was the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
It's like you need to, or like if it's a one day, it's always just a new set of dice.
Right. Yeah. Something like that.
Like, you obviously need this.
I don't know if you guys had caught on that Jesse, when he first came into Kings of War, he played in a tournament that Mike Carter ran. It was a one-day thing, but he won the wooden spoon at that one. And he went with his brother. He attended it every year he could have. And I'm pretty sure it was the last tournament that he played in. But he ended up taking first place overall in it. So it's like you start off with a wooden spoon and you end up your career winning the event. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Started from the bottom.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom. We have a donation in from Tom Annis, who wants to just clarify that John Green is overrated. Doesn't represent Dojo. The rest of them are way better.
Oh, shit.
Fighting words, things like that.
Wow.
Is something about he may have a question incoming. So we will get back.
Selling his boy out.
That is some cold shit to kick somebody out of your club on live YouTube, man. That's some cold
If it gets
shit.
money, I mean, it's what we encourage. This is it.
Yeah.
Dojo guys are cutthroat, man. You're out of the club.
I mean, I did at one point claim that Tom Annis was going to have to kill himself if he lost to someone.
Oh, that's true.
So it's high stakes, Kings of War.
I mean, yeah. Coming from the Northeast, we have to tear down Kevin Spears' ego little bit by little bit with all of his stupid sports awards being so nice and everything. And
you guys got nice.
It's terrible.
It's weird for me, from having been not as heavily, but lightly involved in the Warhammer tournament scene and knowing the Northeast as being like the douchebag region, that I had to sort of recalibrate that it's like, wow, these guys are all really nice guys. Did I have my geography wrong?
Oh man, that is a good one. If you want to ask, Mike Rossi has volumes of insight on that about how we used to be the most hated Warhammer region.
Yeah,
it was terrible, and
not even in like a fun way, like
not even, especially not a fun way,
like a legitimate hatred.
Yeah, of like, this is terrible. This is win at all costs, no matter what, kind of mentality. So. Never looking back, that's for sure. But it sucks trying to, if you get like one sports vote and you're not one of the top 3, you're like, yes, I got a sports vote in the Northeast. It's like winning a GT in of itself, because already 90% of the sports votes are going to go to the top 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
Fixes in, folks.
Yep. I'm going to need to, practice my good sportsmanship habits now, because without Jesse, like the Mid-Atlantic is just wide open for you to be the new king of sports. And Ray moved back to Canada, so the resident Canadian's gone. Like it's a wide open field. So everybody get ready. I'm going to be bringing like liquor bottles to give to people and offering to paint your models for you. Probably not actually paint all your models for. I'll offer, but as soon as you vote, I'll forget that I offered.
Mike, if you offer a model, like I'll take one. Paint one of my rats. Paint like just one. He'll be my leader. He can get like the chieftain or something.
There you go.
Yeah, you got my vote.
It's kind of a cool concept. If you could get like a bunch of really nice painters from around the country to like fill up a whole horde of a unit, like each person's painted a different model from it.
That would be pretty, because they'd all be different styles.
Yeah,
like you could tell them to all use the same palette, but you'd still get a bunch of different interpretations.
So, Kyle, are you willing to paint a model for somebody if they put an appropriate donation up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the question?
Whether or not Kyle would be willing to paint a model for somebody if they put an appropriate donation up for this charity drive.
Yeah, we haven't set what appropriate is, and it's way more than you think.
Right.
Just putting it out there. I don't want to see any like $4.73 paint my ogre.
Well,
A lot coming in.
I'm sure that'd be a $4.70 paint job. Like the paint job's gonna match the donation, I hope.
Right. Oops. Whoops. Knocked my paint can over. We'll call it done.
Spray painted and dipped in floor wax. Here you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like they basically said F you, Nias in particular, and are doing their best to make his life miserable. They've wavered him, it looks like.
Yeah.
Does he have headstrong?
He does.
Yeah.
Because he is a regiment of knights
Because of course.
on a 40 mil base. Basically.
That there's no argument here from the cast on that. Nope. It is written.
It's just one of those things. I keep repeating that, but it's one of those things like I would be charged by Jeremy, sort of knights, and then this dude, and you're like, well, I'll attack the dude because he must be no. He has the exact same armor and nerve as the regiment of knights. He's taking up the same stats defensively as them. So,
Yep. And if you don't attack him, he's just withdrawn, pivoted, and he's gone now.
yeah,
He's
he's
like something else.
he's
Peace.
basically he's the original sort of mini dragon before the Lord on Frostfang was terrorizing the meta. Nias was sort of hanging out doing the same job. So little less offensive output, obviously, but still that same role.
So you have to pay premium channel price to get this kind of action that's going in on the grotesque board. We have, not going to pronounce them, but that Alohi regiment that's been doing all kinds of work. Naeus and in the front. So a lot of units over there fighting over one token and pretty solid victory for Elliot, looking like.
Somebody tell Elliot if he routes the gargoyles with Kyle, I'll donate $100.
Putting that in the chat now.
Does Kyle have any offensive, or is he going in with that one attack?
The one attack. That's
I like it.
I don't think he's even in charge range.
Doesn't matter. We'll allow it. Keith will allow it.
Yep. It's going to be rolled. It's going to be. Just let him know. He will do his best. Good.
What?
All you need is one with gargoyles.
That's it.
True.
It gets weird when you leave, Mike. This is what happens.
That's what happens when I take a
You
break.
step away and we're in there influencing games.
True.
Journalistic integrity just goes right out the window.
I have none.
Are we talking about list integrity or?
Just
Integrity or
Fair enough.
I'm the thing that keeps me from bringing filthy lists is more that I am in a small enough meta that I don't know if my skew list would actually work outside of my meta. So I bring balanced list as like a hedging mechanism. It's like I can't get enough testing in to make sure this dick skew list is worth it. Because the worst feeling in the world is having a dick skew list that doesn't work at like a GT and then having to play 5 more games with it. It's
Right.
just-
Just people looking at you ugly because they don't know that it doesn't work yet.
like you brought this stupid list and it doesn't even work. How bad of a person are you? So no, I go for balanced lists and paint because I have nothing else to do.
We have another anonymous $10 donation that wants to know if it's appropriate for you to wash your Armada boats in the tub. So ask Ronnie
Billy?
if he thinks that it is appropriate to bring your Armada. The gentleman never tells, but is it
That's
appropriate
Billy.
to
That's Billy
bring,
Smith.
to
I'm calling him
bring
out.
your
Like-
Armada in the bathtub with you.
I mean, I washed mine in
wants to
the
know.
I washed mine in the sink, but I play with them in the bath. Is that?
Is that the same?
That's a good question. I'm going to message anonymous donor number 4 back
Like
just to see.
the washing was pretty straightforward, but the epic sea battles I've had against the Quacken is totally different.
And what
Got
about a game in the pool? Is that something that anyone would consider in the future?
Ray, you have to pay to ask questions like that.
I'm asking the host of this the video chat of Dash28 whether or not that is something for a Friday night activity at a future Vanguard tournament.
Look, I'm just
So if people would like to take their models into the pool, then that's on them. I'm not setting up like a floating table with cup holders or anything like that for them. But if you want to press your luck, go ahead. But that does seem like an excellent product idea that Kyle should suggest to Ronnie, that you guys should totally sell an Armada battle mat that floats so people can play with it in the bathtub.
Ooh.
I feel like
This
Mike is
$10
the type
donation
of
is getting a
personality.
lot of traction.
I feel like if Mike's the type of personality, if we say there is no way you could build a floating table for your pool, that next Vanguard there will be a floating table for the pool.
There might. I'm not going to promise that the terrain's going to look good. The terrain might be like little pool floats or something like that, like little floating cup holders. Robin every year buys a new set of large novelty floats, knowing that we're going to destroy them and wear them out. So this past year, she bought this thing that was a what's the 2-hump camel? Bactrian. It was a giant Bactrian camel, so like 3 people could get on it, and it's the size of a small car. Like it was it's one of those floats that you have to get like a tire inflator to blow.
Attaboy, John.
And yeah, so like we definitely have more than enough floats for people to like float around the pool and maybe set some foam board on or something like that. But I don't know how much time I would. That seems more like
He's already thinking about it, guys.
It's like,
Oh, there we go.
it's like 11 o'clock at night. We've had a few drinks, and somebody says, "Hey, you know what would be funny?" And then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's like don't ask me to do it in advance, because then I'll think it's silly and don't do it. Like catch me at the right moment when I've had a couple, and then I'll probably like MacGyver something together."
Oh, game update, everybody. The gargoyles and the priest are officially in combat.
Yeah.
Let's see how this shakes out. So I'm going to put, even if the game ends, they have to finish this combat.
So says Batia.
Special-
Roll that out.
Turn 6.5.
So, folks, just an update. If you've heard it here, if you go to the Vanguard GT, Mike Atkins, Table 1 will be played in the pool. I think is what we're going to take away from this conversation. Thank you, everyone, for the donations. So for those who are keeping track, we have $888.16. So that is the total raised. Maybe we'll beat it the next one. Maybe we're still not done.
Plus $10 for Netflix.
Plus $10 that accidentally got charged through my PayPal. Yep, that's the whole.
Holy shit! Was that a Snake Eyes?
That was the scam I was running. Charity GT to pay for my Netflix bill. So the final total will reflect $10 higher when I put the money back in. And we have Snake Eyes.
And that was the first Snake Eyes of the game, I believe. Over there on the Loki regiment.
Yeah, we didn't get any in our last.
Nope.
Yeah.
There haven't actually been that many combats. It's been a very sort of punch and kill game.
Yes.
Nice. Finally went down though.
Yep. Screw you in particular.
Mm-hmm. Cheers. So if you are this overmaster and there is a turn 7, where do you go?
Into Kyle.
Can you?
I'll allow it.
If only you were close enough to recharge that mammoth, because that'd be hilarious.
Oh man.
I mean, none of this is going to be there because we got Elliot's first side, but like you're probably grounded We'll see. But
All right. So here's the combat that matters. Here we go. Can Gargoyles successfully punch Kyle in the face?
And then can Kyle successfully punch them back?
Yeah, that's the question.
Oh,
Ooh. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
One wound. Don't
yeah,
forget
that
the
looked
vicious
bad for a
rerolls.
minute.
You got 2 vicious rerolls. Don't forget them.
Don't forget.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Was that vicious or was that the nerve check?
that should be vicious.
Oh,
they
the nerve.
forgot vicious. It just did nerve.
Oh, man.
You're
Are
waving,
Gargoyles
Kyle.
not vicious anymore? Oh, wow, they're not.
Oh,
Interesting.
Oh.
Gargoyles lost vicious. Wow, I haven't paid that much attention to.
I just use
that.
harpies. It's over. But
Roll it out.
Do it anyway.
do it.
I like the idea that Jesse's hustling around on Discord, doing a bunch of different rules queries and like trying to keep this stuff running and like being super serious. And Keith's in this game, like keep the game going until the fight is over.
Yep.
Just making a mockery of the organization. Just
It was supposed to be
No.
epic if the priest did it on one attack. That was the thing,
Right.
because Pizza Jesus was going to do it, man. He was going to do it.
Kyle killed the gargoyles. Oh, this is wonderful. Guys, I'm that cool TO, you know. Jesse's like the
yeah.
strict one. He makes rules. You know, I'm like, cool. Oh, geez. All right, let's bring him back. Type in the chat.
Take that away.
we have a special guest here for tactical analysis.
Yes. Hi.
Say hi.
Hi. How old's your little one, Brenton?
He just turned 3.
Nice.
And he's got the sweet quarantine haircut like Dad. It's the full wild child going.
I like it.
Where we cut the bangs every couple months to keep it out of his eyes, and the rest just grows.
All right, so we're gonna have the players back for
Good
just
see,
a
Mama.
quick few minute wrap up here, and then in a half an hour we'll be bringing you the top table match. So I would like to, while we're waiting for the players to come back, I'd like to thank everybody for watching and especially for donating. We are up to $888.16. The Dash28 will be matching. I'd also like to thank Keith and Ray and Britton and Kyle for hanging out during the match and talking about it. That was fun.
Oh, take away Brenton's. He just showed his mullet.
Oh, did he?
You know, yeah, he violated the rule of being on camera.
Dope.
Yep, owes us money. Zoom etiquette right there. All right, and here's Elliot.
It turns out that Julius is a bad man.
Yeah, I think everyone would agree that Julius is in fact a very bad man.
It's terrible.
And here comes John. All right, so we got both our players back as soon as he finishes making the connection.
1,800 points.
There we go. All right, welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for letting us watch that game. That was a great game, very well played. Yeah, that was a rough game for you, John. Elliot kind of had you on the back foot early with Julius getting around behind you like that, but you fought all the way through it. And definitely, we could see the wheels turning. You spent a lot of time thinking about how to protect your stuff and how to hold on and how to counter punch, but it seems like the luck just wasn't quite with you today.
Yeah, I mean it was a good game. Elliot outmaneuvered me, and a couple of things didn't go my way that I wanted to go my way. It was a good game. He's a good sport.
John, we wanted to compliment you on turn 2. You did a great job protecting your stuff and doing a really nice, like most of us would have. Go ahead, sorry, Elliot.
I sort of put very.
I'm having trouble hearing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you're breaking
this
up,
is-
Elliot.
Elliot is actually a computer.
Oh.
That's why his universal battle performance is so well in this tournament, because it's just computer.
Yep. We needed one of those CAPTCHA things where you have to like check the boxes to say I'm not a robot. That's how he loses. Yeah, that would have kept him down. John, you did a wonderful job though protecting your flanks early on with that maneuvering. What do you think were some of your big moments, John?
Oof. Kind of hard to think about it now when I'm looking at it. I mean, I thought my battle line was fine, but real life intervened. I think Julius is a beast. I mean,
Yep.
I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out some bright spots here. I mean, I think I did really break a lot of stuff, and I hope I did minimize some of the damage that was going to come in off that flank. But there really weren't any surprises. I mean, I saw it coming, and there wasn't anything to do about it.
Sure.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
you try to use your half-breed champs, the way you're supposed to whip around and get in the way, but he left him in the flank, so there's really nothing you could do about it. Yeah.
I knew I was going to lose one unit in there no matter what after I fiddled around for a while, but to not break the ogres on the other side,
Yeah.
That gave him that let him take two of the grotesques away. So, good game. I mean, he's a good player. Didn't make any mistakes. I mean, at the end of the turn, I would sit and check my units to see if he left me charges or see if there was any mistakes made. There just weren't.
Oh, John, he's not here anymore. You can just say whatever you want about him.
Oh, he's a total asshole. I mean, whole was out of place.
I just caught the end of that.
All right. Elliot, let's see if your connection's better now.
There we go. That's better. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. And we can hear you.
How are you?
So
I
we've
was
just
just
been
telling
chatting with John a little bit.
He didn't make any mistakes. I mean, I looked at it. I would look at the board after he moves. I couldn't find any. And a lot of winning a game like this is up to how many mistakes your opponent makes. And I don't know if y'all saw any, but I didn't see any.
No, not a lot. Didn't give you a lot of room to work for certain.
Which is his job.
What did you think about the waiver? Was it the Gur Panthers that got wavered?
It actually ended
like
up
turn 2 or
helping
3
me.
in the middle.
Yeah.
I was annoyed at first, and then actually it just gave me another turn of having chaff.
Yeah,
because
I
just
didn't
meant
like
that-
it. I didn't like it from the very beginning. I knew I was jammed up in there.
I think for me, I had to do everything I could to get Julius behind the lines as quickly as possible. So the wavered Gur Panthers just held everything up one more turn and let me just get things in really annoying positions.
We talked about the decision that you made to go into the center grotesques on that third turn, I think it was, and we were kind of debating on what was the better play. And I think ultimately, obviously, when you made the play that you did, it makes a lot more sense. But we kind of debated if you were going to go into the right side and kind of pressure there, or just kind of pinch him in the middle. And it really did seem like that middle charge, even though it was hindered, made the most sense.
Yeah, I had a flank on the grotesque on the right, but if I'd have taken that, I'd have been behind the forest, not been able to see anything, and I really, really had to win the left. Like I could dance on the right hand side for most of the game because I had that impassable and I had the space to dance around and just be a pain. But I had to win the left, otherwise I just couldn't win the game. So I kind of chose to give up that juicy flank with Julius for a turn later, being in the rear and being a pain.
And I underestimated how strong his flying wing was. Julius is not only, has that small base size, but he carries around that crushing free.
Did we have any questions from the YouTube chat that people wanted to ask? Brenton stepped away for a moment. He has to go film This Is Spinal Tap with his new haircut.
No, I don't think we had a whole lot of questions. Like, no, yeah, it was definitely a very well played game from both of you guys. Clearly by the result, we can see that Elliot did a great job maneuvering and kind of kept John on the back foot the whole game. Thanks so much for letting us watch. I super appreciate you guys letting us check out your game. Good luck in the third round of the tournament to both of you.
And our final tally for the night, having just during this the wrap up part, received a donation of $100 and another one of $20. We are now ending with a $1,008.16 as our total amount raised during this
broadcast. Yep.
During this broadcast.
Thanks
During
so
this
much,
broadcast?
guys. During this
During
broadcast.
this broadcast. John, you are so
Wow.
good looking. 1,000 people wanted to see you. $1,000 worth.
Have we mentioned the fact that Kyle the priest did kill the gargoyles?
That's where the $100 came from.
That's the $100.
Because I'd not noticed before that they've got 10 attacks, fearless,
See,
and crushing.
I wanted you to just roll the one attack on the 8-10 nerve, and it was going to happen. I'm telling you, Jesse was literally up there, man. And he was going to be like, "I'm fucking changing that dice roll to whatever it needs to be."
Right. God says I get 3. I'm using one of mine. Divine intervention. Right now.
I think you guys underestimate the TV value of watching a dojo get smashed on UB.
we definitely had a little donating rivalry going between the Northern Kings guys and the dojo guys. So your club mates may or may not be happy with you about how much money they laid out competing with each other during the game. But hey,
I'm okay with that.
It's all for a good cause.
All for a good cause.
As am I. All right, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much again, guys.
Time, let's tie this up.
Thanks for a great game, John. That was really well played and a really tough game for you.
Take care.
Really tough matchup.
You guys got about a half an hour till the next round, so go get a drink, stretch a little bit. We'll see you next round.
All right, guys.
Cheers. Thanks all.
All right. So once again, I would like to thank. Keith's already dropped off. I'd like to thank Keith and Jesse Bilbia for running this whole event. They're doing a great job. I'd like to thank Kyle and Brent and Ray for coming and hanging out with me during the game. It's great having you guys here to chat about everything. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching at home, and especially everyone who donated. We will be matching all of those donations, so that $1,008.16 is going to turn into $2,016.32. And we will see you in about a half an hour, right back here with the top table match from round 3. So until next time, I'm your host, Mike Atkins, you stay safe out there, and we will see you next time on Dash28 Live. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.